Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where I usually really hate to do this, but on rare occasions, I must agree with my co-host, but we'll get to that one. I'm your host, Mr. K. Asante, TKO Asante, on all the places we find ourselves, and I'm, of course, joined by the one who's probably going to get messy on me today, Mr. Everborn Saga.
No.
What's going on, sir?
I don't even know what you're talking about, but I'm intrigued.
We're gonna get into it, and I think you'll get the picture when we start getting there. I hope everybody's well. How you doing, brother? How's things going on?
I'm all right. Just 2 days left on the Kickstarter campaign, so I'm very excited about that. We got a nice little stretch goal, but we'll talk about that later. Very exciting times. I don't want to introduce any FOMO.
Okay.
But if you have not backed this Kickstarter yet, it is literally your last chance.
Indeed.
Right? We have 2 variant covers that will never be seen again. We have a bunch of add-ons in terms of apparel that is made by literally Adidas, and we have a new book. This is a surprise entry, a new book. Everborn the Remnant. That's a whole new series that wasn't planned to launch until late 2025. You can get the first half of that book if we hit our stretch goal.
Nice.
And you got 2 days left. So if you were thinking about it, it's now or never. But we'll talk about that later. Just saying.
No, that's great, man.
These are things.
That's great. And it's already a little bit funded, but you can help it really like smash through those goals and smash and get past to our stretch goals.
And this is just the other bonus. The book's done and the book's already printed, and the books get to my warehouse literally on Tuesday, the day when the campaign ends. So provided everyone fills out their surveys and gives their shipping information, you'll have the book this month.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's never happens on Kickstarter.
Yeah. You already got it in your hands, man. It's great. This is awesome. Congratulations, by the way, on hitting your funding goals. That is fantastic.
Hit the goal.
I appreciate that.
Now full steam ahead to the stretch goal.
Indeed. Salute to one and all who have joined us on this fair Saturday morning. This should be a concise show because your boy has got a project he's an escalation point on, and he's already been escalated to once already this morning. So we shall see. If at any moment's notice you see me go off cam and I'll be like, Everborn, please hold down the fort, that means somebody is bothering me. I apologize. This is gonna be what it is.
By the way, I had to deal with that because usually just my luck issues happen on Friday. There was a temp table where audit trails are written, and it was out of space. And so every time anyone tried to do anything, insert anything into the database, we were getting all these crazy emails. I had to go get on a bridge call. And
you allocate storage?
I don't do it. The DBAs had to do it. And the temp table had 2 gigs, and it was 99%. And you'd think they'd be watching this stuff, but whatever.
Maybe an alert, making sure you're getting close to the end. Okay. Anyway, we are here. It's a Saturday morning, and we have great people already in the chat, already lined up. We're already seeing our numbers fluctuate and grow. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't done so already, please consider hitting that like button. Let folks know on them Twitter streets that we are out here, and we're gonna start y'all Saturday off right with some really interesting discussions. I think I have some good ones this week. But before we even get into that, let us acknowledge the man, Mr. MJ Dark, with a $5 super chat. He says, remember, Kojima is the GOAT. Sega should have let him make Sonic game and it would sell. Switch 2 is the best place to play GTA 6. Have a great show. So in other words, a lot of gaslighting, a lot of falsehoods, and then have a great show. I understand. Yes,
Sonic has no issues selling, sir.
And Face 23 BKNY with a $20 super chat right off the rip. Thank you, good brother. He says Xbox games getting enhanced on PS5 Pro like Diablo 4 is going to be a bad look for the Xbox console. Xbox games running and looking better on PS5 Pro is going to ruffle some feathers for Xbox fans who play on console. I mean, I don't disagree with you on that, Face. But this is the world we live in right now, and I suspect those fans whose feathers get ruffled need to get over it. They need to start looking in the mirror right now and going, "This isn't for you. They aren't talking to you. It's not about me." It's gonna happen. It just is gonna happen. So I don't know, Mr. Everborn Saga, do you have any other thoughts here?
I have a lot of thoughts on it, and you like the console. I don't care what they tell you, is not their main priority. Meaning, if you are there for the console, you are not their main priority. And until until you understand that, this kind of stuff is going to continue to bother you. And if you don't like it, there is an option for you.
Look,
there's several options for you.
It's a very simple situation, okay? If you are a console gamer and you enjoy playing on your console, enjoy your console. Nothing has changed.
I disagree.
Nothing has changed. Your console still gets your games. It still plays your games. You don't have to look over across the street and go, "Man, them Joneses, they get cake whenever they order their food."
Wait a minute. So it doesn't matter that they said,
"Oh, we gotta do this."
Is the best No. Like what? We're just like they said it, right? Unless
sure, and they were marketing, and then you bought it, and now play your games.
Okay,
play your game.
Here's the thing, and we won't stay on this because we do this every week. They say something, it's not true. People should be able to say you said something that turned out to not be true.
Sure. No, sure. That what I'm saying is not mutually exclusive to that. You can also say it. That's fine. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is when the great Ben Kenobi hands you this Power World coin, right, and then hands Everborn Saga a similar Power World coin, it doesn't take a piece of this Power World coin away. I still have this Power World coin. That's all I'm saying. So yes, complain that they lied, complain that they marketed, complain that they prioritized and now it doesn't seem like they are. But at the end of the day, you still got your Power World coin.
That's all I'm saying. And what I'm saying
it doesn't magically remove a piece of it in order to make it exist on here. It's still here, and you still can use it. Exactly what you initially thought, and it's still right there. That's all I am saying.
It's not what you initially thought, and I think that's a little bit of a red herring. But that's okay. And again, so Big Bad Mo says lied about what? Yes. What I'm saying is, and again, it makes no sense for them not to have a PS5 Pro version, right? That would just be punitive at that point. It's a multi-platform game. That's like saying they shouldn't take advantage of all the things that PC has to offer, right? This is a platform they're on.
By the way, to BKNY, to his tweet, right? Diablo 4, I think, is a bad example because Diablo 4 was always for the streets. It was before they bought them, right? Yes, it's true they're first party now, but Diablo 4 has always been for the streets. When a game like, Sea of Thieves gets the pro treatment, then I can see some real ruffling of feathers. You know what I'm saying? Like games that were notoriously tied to the Xbox, when they get moved, that becomes that. Then I can see some of the tar and feathering
is a moneymaker, so it will get the pro.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it will. Yeah.
But I agree that Diablo is not the hill to die on, right? And when Doom inevitably has a pro variant of the game, that's not the hill to die on either.
When historically multi-platform games are there, that's not the hill to die on. When the game that is like synonymous with the Xbox brand goes and it looks better and it plays better, then we can re-adjourn and I can put my arm around you and go, "It's all right, brother. It's okay. For now, it's cool." I suspect, But let us move on.
Yeah,
because I'm sure a lot of this conversation will come back with the future topics we're about to have here. Right? I'm sure all of this will come back around. But of course, I want to do this. Hold on. Erotimus, when Slow-Mo is not here, Erotimus has to fulfill the slanders chat quota, and he comes in with what I consider a barn burner. So they lied in 4-year-old marketing.
They said this a few months ago that their console is the best place to play their game. So try 4 months, A-Rodimus.
But I mean, listen to what MJ Dark says, right? Which is exactly the same thing that Nintendo says, that it's the best place to play their games, which is also a lie. It is what it is. We call it marketing.
And that's fine.
When can Nintendo claim that their games are the best, that their console is the best place to play anything, even their first parties?
You can't expect them to account for you, for Jack Sparrow's world.
Jack, that's not. Stop it. Taking your games that you have bought and emulating it elsewhere is not.
Let's stop that right there. Most people playing Switch games on PC are not going and copying them the right way. They're going.
And by the way, before we continue this conversation, I will preface this by saying Everborn Saga should shut his mouth, because now he's empowering them ninjas, and we don't need them on these Twitter streets.
There's nothing they can do right now because we're not showing any of their 480p games. So Nintendo can shut up right now.
With that in mind, we just have to be honest and say that most of the people emulating these Switch games are not getting them in the way that they should. Now, if you're just because you're using the MIG dumper, that's fine, because then you're taking no. That's not a MIG dumper thing. No, that's not the MIG dumper thing. You can do that in software. You don't need a MIG dumper.
You can, but are most people doing it? Don't give me this theoretical. Don't give me this theoretical. You're being
it was built. Hear me. It was built. These emulators, the reason why the government deemed emulation legal is because emulation is used for keeping games alive beyond their console cycles, right? If people are doing nefarious things, just having an emulator by itself does not automatically mean you're pirating stuff. Is all I'm saying.
But that's never what I said. You're making a straw man. What I'm saying is that most people using those emulators are getting the games themselves in unscrupulous ways.
Then those unscrupulous ways are the ones that need to be attacked. Right? That's the part, not the emulation part. It's the unscrupulous ways part.
Emulation, you're dangling emulation.
No. Hear me. The reason why I'm saying that, the reason why I'm saying that is because I said that Nintendo can't even say that on their own platform is the best place to play it, because using emulators, you can play it better elsewhere. And then you automatically went to piracy. Exactly the same way, you cannot hear the word emulation and go straight to piracy, because there's a mushy middle there. That's the important part. The unscrupulous way of acquiring your content, that's what needs to be attacked, not the emulation. And I stand on my square about this, because there are some great folks on the Twitter streets, on YouTube, getting their butts handed to them because Nintendo's bullying their way around, trying to make it seem like emulation is legal when it is not. So I just want to be clear on that. That's why I'm being specific.
Fantastic. That's not what I'm talking about at all. All I was saying is you can't.
Yes, you're talking about the unscrupulous ways that people acquire their content.
Right.
That's a different conversation.
Say, well, you could play this better doing some unsupported thing. They're going to talk about their official way to play it. Now with Xbox, you can officially play it on PC. You can officially play it on some of the games on PlayStation, right? So through official means, they should be able to tell you what's the best way to play their games. And they said it was on console, but we'll see.
So, okay, on the topic of the Nintendo and their ninja, I must ask, I will first say we're going to get to the games we're playing, right? And I would have had 4 games to show off, but one I can't show, and we'll get to why. And then the other one I can't show footage. We'll get to why that as well. But we'll start with you, Mr. Everborn Saga. What games this week have been keeping you busy, good sir?
Metaphor Refantasio, and I've played this thing on a myriad of devices. Now, luckily there was an update that I just got this morning, because I was going to come here slandering the game for its bad optimization for handhelds or whatever. It looked great on the 4090, but obviously it should. But when
if it doesn't, there'll be a problem there.
Yeah. When I tried it on the ROG Ally and the Steam box that we made on that stream that I'm yet to write an article about, don't worry.
Yeah, yes.
I do want to talk a little bit about that though, because I found another very cool solution for that thing. But the draw distances and the sort of anti-alias in the background was like egregious, and it was struggling to get to 60 frames. It could easily lock at 30.
And this is on the box?
This is on the box and on the ROG Ally. Now,
okay.
The ROG Ally, at first I thought it was performing like a dog, but that's because I had it at silent mode. So once I turned it up to 25 watts, it was hovering in the 40s, 50s range.
Okay.
And then you plug it in and you'll get very close to 60. On the Steam box, I could not set it to 720p. I thought that was an issue with the game, but it turns out that's because I was going borderless, and you have to go full screen, and then it'll allow
in order for it to grab the full resolution. I get you. Okay.
That'll allow you to switch the resolution. If you go borderless, then it's just you're stuck in 1080p, and then you're rendering at that.
Yeah, so, but borderless is whatever the settings in the settings that resolution.
I didn't know that, so that's on me. But today there's also an update that addressed performance, and I switched it to 720p internal resolution, and then put the textures on normal and the frame rate to cap to 60, and I set the render resolution, not the internal resolution, the scale. That was set to 100. I could probably move it to 125, but at 100 it was performing right around 55, 60 frames a second, because there's a lot of cuts, so you can't really watch it too hard, but it really was able to keep 60. Now, the anti-aliasing is still an issue, but not as bad as it was. But it is running very smooth. The only issue I was having now is that the controller kept disconnecting, but that has nothing to do with the game. That's with the Xbox wireless adapter I'm using. So I played it for about an hour this morning, and I had an hour in already. So I'm 2 hours in. I'm just in that first tower battle.
Isn't it like 5 hours of content just in a demo? That's crazy.
Yeah. No.
That's crazy. Yeah. And that tells you what kind of game, like the scope of the game when you finally get it. That's most likely going to be like hours and hours, like hundreds of hours of gameplay, I suspect.
Yeah, I really like the pacing of it, because that's where a lot of these JRPGs kind of fall apart for me. I thought Tales of Arise started really strong, and then once the world
meandering
and then Grand Blue Fantasy was just too cutesy for me. Even though I like the action style of it, like the fighting style. But this one just hits all the right notes, and really, at least so far, I'm only 2 hours in, but it's starting very strong and keeping me engaged and wanting to see what happens next, which sucks because I still have to finish Space Marine 2.
Wow, you still haven't finished Space Marine 2? Come on, you got to get on that, man.
Focusing on the Kickstarter, man, which is only 2 days left, people. Is your last chance to support it. But
on that, I agree with you. Okay.
I'll
give you a pass on that one.
On Space Marine to get it done before the 11th, and I'm going to come back to this for the final release, because this is already loaded up, ready to go. I'm very excited about this game, and it feels like it's the only thing I'm going to be playing for the rest of the year. So maybe I got to put it down and knock out some of the smaller stuff like the COD campaign and Sonic Generations, with Keanu Reeves as the voice of Shadow. So, but you have to get
and we got a Sonic topic on the show today, so we're going to talk about that as well.
I want people to know, if you want Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow, you got to get the premium edition. Which kind of sucks.
So hold on. When you get the regular edition, who's voicing Shadow?
The regular voice. I don't know his name, but like it's the regular Shadow voice. It's not
that must make the person who voices Shadow feel real special. You were the boilerplate.
This
If you
is
want
the
the premium
Hollywood.
edition, then it's Keanu. It's
Hollywood.
Keanu. That's messed up, man.
So I
That's
mean, listen, had no plans on getting that premium edition, but now I have to. So
they got you. Oh man, that's hilarious.
listen,
Okay,
I
okay.
think it's worth it. They got a big name actor to come do the voice, and it works with the movie, so you'll be able to come from Sonic 3 and then
You play it. You play it and tell me if at some point Shadow turns around and looks at the camera and goes, whoa. If he does that, you got me. But okay, keep talking about Metaphor. I hear a lot of people in the community like very excited about Metaphor.
I mean, Lon is all about this. I'm sorry, Lon. You know who you are. I want to connect it to
Yes,
your name
yes,
here.
yes.
Now MJ Dark is saying turn down the shadows.
That might help you with your
I didn't
your
see
performance.
a setting for shadows. I got to go back and look at that. But like what this footage you're showing, what is this from?
This is from like just general internet YouTube. Somebody played like 300 hours, 3 hours or whatever.
So like if you were playing this on the 1X player or something like that.
No. This is PlayStation seemingly PlayStation footage. So there you go.
Yeah, but I am happy to report that the playing on the Steam box setup, which is basically a ROG Ally with a little bit of EP. I'm happy to report that after the recent update and my settings changes, it's running pretty well.
Shout out to Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick. What's going on, good sir?
The internal the anti-aliasing is still
a little choppy,
terrible, but not as bad as it was. It was horrendous before. Now it's terrible. But like I also like now. Let me ask you a question about this game. Again, very early in. I've also played and completed Final Fantasy 16, right?
Okay. I have not.
I'm like halfway through Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm about 70% of the way through Remake.
Because I'm only halfway through Remake, I never got to Rebirth yet. But let me ask you a question. In terms of RPGs and turn-based mechanics, does it feel like Atlas is kind of like the one to beat right now, like top of their game in terms of turn-based RPGs? I
mean, I wouldn't be surprised at that. Yeah. It does seem like they've taken upon themselves the mantle of continuing that tradition.
What I'm asking. In terms
I'm not
of
sure about that.
Maker.
I'm not sure about that. We're gonna have to see once their latest offerings come out, because I mean, obviously, we've seen Square's latest offerings come out. It received critical acclaim and then didn't sell that much, right? Like, and on the critical acclaim side of the house, it looks like they both are neck and neck. But I guess the sales will determine it, right?
That's true. But this is, to me, this is way more of an RPG than Final Fantasy 16 is.
Well, okay. And I can't speak to Final Fantasy 16 because I haven't played it. But I thought you were going to say Final Fantasy 7 Remake, which 7 Remake is a remix, obviously, of that original idea, right? So the combat system has evolved. They've evolved, obviously, the graphics and stuff. So maybe that's why, at least in the Final Fantasy 7 Remake case, it doesn't speak to that traditional JRPG essence because they've remixed it.
I think Remake is more of an RPG than 16. I'm just saying 16 is a numbered edition, right?
Sure.
And I'm not saying you can't be an action RPG. I'm just saying, like, in terms of feeling like what you're expecting from moving the RPG genre forward, is what Final Fantasy is kind of known for. I feel like this is doing more in that vein than Final Fantasy has done in a while. And then, like Erodimus is saying, Expedition 33.
I agree with him wholeheartedly. I got to see it. Yes, and you can see some of the similarities with that and what we're looking at right now in Metaphor. Even their menu system, they've opted to be a bit more aggressive and a bit more modern with their menu system, which Expedition 33 completely copies from seemingly Atlas, right? Because Atlas has always been about that interesting menu style.
Yeah, but even just from what I've seen from Expedition 33, it like They also have this sort of active system where you can time your button presses after choosing what your attack is.
Yes. That you can keep blocking and parrying. So like no enemy can hit you if you do it right as far as timing is concerned. Yeah.
And with metaphor, you can begin doing melee attacks. You can sneak up on someone and then you manually go into the battle, although they can get the ambush on you. But that sort of active, I can go and do a melee attack on a small enemy, or even a bigger enemy if I get the drop on them. And that's an
shout out to the great Longhouse Gaming Podcast. He's already out here calling his shot. He says, "Oh, it's the Gotti on the screen." Balatro says, "Hey, sir, we shall talk."
Yeah, like the way they've sort of blended in melee combat, like action combat, and then how you transition into the turn-based, I think really works really well and keeps you really engaged. And again, those menu systems just keep everything fresh and exciting. It's not just because if you're turn-based, a lot of what you're doing is menus. You might as well plus those menus.
That's right. Indeed. And it's a very novel idea that only it seems that only Atlas has been dipping into with their Persona series, with as far as modernizing the menus. It used to only be their thing until Expedition 33 showed that, hey, we can do that too.
Yeah, but this is what you want. Anyway, I am like, this is just taking me back to when I really played and enjoyed turn-based RPGs, and it's just not. I haven't. Again, I'm only 2 hours in, right? So this means nothing. It's just a demo, but like I'm very
5+ hour demo. That's crazy.
I got 3 hours to go, but this is just. Every time I play, I want to play more. I'm very excited. Very strong start.
Anything else?
The other thing I was talking about this. Shout out to Risket for the biscuit. I was on his show with Umbra and Holly last night.
Great show last night. Yeah.
And
shout out to Holly. I saw you in here. Good to see you, Holly.
Risket was saying this wasn't for him. He didn't like how you walk a few steps and then there's like loading.
They take control away from you. Walk a few steps. Story.
The switch between story and gameplay is a lot more jarring than it is in Final Fantasy 16. Right. So, or even remake, and I'm gonna assume rebirth, where it's a hard stop, and okay, now we're doing an animation, or now we're doing a rendered cutscene, and now you're back to controlling things, and you're gonna walk 3 steps. So that's even more jarring than it is in Final Fantasy 16, which it was bad there, but. The saving grace here is I'm very interested in the story, so I want to see more. I feel like I'm just watching a season of a new anime series on Crunchyroll when I'm playing this.
The anime aesthetics are very strong here, aren't they? Like the graphic fidelity, it's almost literally like they took an episode of a show and they couched it between gameplay. Am I wrong?
They did. Now, so Dorian Gray in the chat says metaphor is cool. He does full Japanese because he doesn't like the localization. Here's the thing, though. Normally, I would agree with you, but the voice acting here is very good.
Even the English voice acting?
Yes, because they used all Brits, right? And in a fantasy setting, it just feels very natural. And so this is the one where I think you should give it a try, because
and I mean, you are talking about Dorian, the man who notoriously is a Japanese speaker, so
well, that's okay, Dorian, I'll give you but the thing is, like, in general though, if you normally do subbed, you should try dubbed on this. It is very well done, better than a lot of Western games. So I definitely am enjoying my time, and the voice acting is just top marks. Very,
Excellent.
very excited about this. It's one of those things that's scary because if I play this, that means I'm not playing anything else until maybe
Yeah,
January.
it's a no lifer for a while. Yeah, you could definitely tell.
So
Yeah,
I kind of
with a
want to.
demo that's over 5 or whatever hours, it's got to be a no lifer. You know, they got a lot of content in the
There's
tank
some
on that
games
one.
you can play and beat in 5 hours, right?
In 5 hours, exactly.
Right? This demo is longer than Hellblade.
Oh man, that's not cool. And also not true. But continue.
I loved Hellblade 2.
But it's also not accurate. It's far longer.
But back to be fair though, or not to be fair, but I this is something I love that I'm going to have to put down because I'm also in love with Warhammer, and
you gotta finish Warhammer, bro.
Yeah, and listen, I'm still on like chapter 2 in Black Myth Wukong, another game that I really enjoyed. I just don't.
I don't like beating my head against the wall in Black Myth. I've beaten a few bosses to be like, yup, I'm here, I could do this. But I'm just not. I'm not enjoying the constant beat my head against the wall until I beat the boss and then move on to the next one.
Hey, Rodimus, you didn't have to say that. He said this demo is longer than Concord. Stop it, man.
See, I told you, when Slow-Mo's not here, Rodimus fulfills that quota.
We're gonna run a classy show here, sir.
That's a good one. I like that.
Anyway, yes. You should also mention this. The Black John says metaphor is play anywhere, which is very interesting for a non-Game Pass title.
Yes. Well, they've been trying to do that with Sega, and they have been successful. I mean, even what do you call it? Like a Dragon. You know, the Yakuza Like a Dragon series. If you buy it on console, you get it on PC as well. Yeah.
I mean, every game on Steam is play anywhere, but I digress.
No, it's not, because you can't then play it on a console. It's a different.
I got a console in my living room.
It's a different paradigm. Calm yourself. You got a PC. You got a PC with a front end UI. Calm yourself. Anyway.
By the way, I do want to say one thing about that really quickly. So you guys all remember we built the Steam box, the B-Link SER7. You can get one for about $500 or less. And it's basically like a ROG Ally with more TDP, so it gets slightly better performance, a little bit slower memory, but for the most part, you'll get better performance there. The thing I want to say is I have now, through attachments, I've gotten it to work with the HDMI CEC controls because Steam just pushed an update for that. Valve pushed an update for that in their beta channel, because that's going to be in the new update that's coming out. So it can now turn on the TV and switch HDMI inputs automatically when you turn it on. But
you mean the thing that Xbox and PlayStation have been able to do since day one? Yeah, I get that. Continue.
Trying to emulate that, right? Without all the headaches that tie you to console. But anyway, it does require like an adapter to do that because the box that I bought itself doesn't have the HDMI CEC controller. Yeah. So if you had a box that did, then you'd be fine. The software would just handle it. But because that hardware is not in this GPU, this iGPU, you have to get an adapter. But the point is that adapter exists. It plugs in. It's like $40. And now you'll have those controls. And again, you don't have to do this. You can just turn on your TV with a remote. But if you want it,
you can just be a normal person and point the remote at the screen and hit play. You know.
But if you don't want that to happen, you can buy this HDMI CEC adapter, and then the little mini puck PC will. Yeah, see, that's a good point too. I didn't want to do that.
He didn't want to heat his He didn't want to heat his bedroom when he's trying to play games in the living room. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
the 4090 blowing smoke in the bedroom. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And the RGB lights come on while you know. Like, you know, I wanted a separate box, but it works so well, right?
Yeah.
And so hold on. What's Dorian Gray saying about DisplayPort?
Okay, he just said Mm-hmm.
Okay, Floodzilla says HDMI. What is that? We use DisplayPort.
Yeah, of course, because higher resolutions and more frame rate.
Blah,
DisplayPort or
blah,
nothing.
blah. We're talking about connecting to the TV in the living room.
Look,
Okay,
man. And by
wait.
the way, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm not. If I'm speaking out of school, Flood, please let me know. But Floodzilla, the great penguin himself, will be joining us this Monday night on Gamers Playground.
Oh, nice. That should have happened a
So
long time.
Oh yeah, he's a great dude. Has a lot of knowledge. Looking forward to chatting with him again. Yes.
All right, we're gonna get a lot of Linux and AMD shilling, but it's okay. And that's a good question. Avoid the void. Refantasia or Sea of Stars, two completely different
games, different styles. Yeah,
but one's top down 16-bit era style. So I don't want to choose between them because they're doing very different things. But in terms of like JRPG style games, I love both of them. Cool. And not very far in either, but the little piece that I got, they're great. So I would say both. Now, but back to this thing, and then you can move us on. So we installed Bazide on the machine. There's no Windows on there getting in the way. It's just the Steam OS, and it works very well. And now with the Xbox wireless adapter, you press the controller, which is like $16, by the way. But you press the guide button on the controller, it wakes up the machine, and with the HDMI adapter, it will turn on the TV. So all those things that you expect from your console, it does with these two little adapters. So if you're considering creating a Steam box, you spend the extra $20 and $40 for those two adapters, and you're gonna get that same experience. And it basically turns that.
You also better get a HDMI, a USB hub, because all these adapters take space depending on what box you bought. I
got just enough for everything, sir. I also got a SteelSeries headphone set for it, which is taking up another USB-C slot. So that's
Which SteelSeries did you get? I got a couple of them. I love the SteelSeries.
So for the 4090, I have a 7 series, and for the Steam box, I have a 5 series.
Okay, I have 2 7 series, one Pro and one regular. I actually bought the regular, and then when I went to what do you call it, FanFest, they gave me the Pro series for free.
Very nice.
Look at that. Yeah, it's awesome. I love the SteelSeries headphones. They know what they're doing. They're very good at that company with specifically what they do. They do very well. Anyway,
Black Viking Longhouse gaming podcast. You subscribe to him if you are not. He runs a very good show on Thursdays. But he says metaphor is Persona with Fire Emblem setting. I'm gonna disagree because Persona, at least Persona 5, starts off really slow, and this starts off really strong. So I started Persona 5, and it took too long to get going, so I put it down. Here, I'm like edge of my seat. So I think they've done an even better job.
They've done a better job. Okay, excellent. Let me catch up on a couple super chats and we'll move forward. MJ Dark, $2 super chat. He says, reporting Everborn to Doug right now. Rip Ryujinx. Oh yeah, well, this is what I'm talking about Nintendo, the ninjas bullying.
Because I have some conspiracy theories.
Well, I actually wanted to talk about that on Gamers Playground since it's more of a PC centric topic. But give us your theory, man. Tinfoil is always appreciated.
First, and then I'll talk about
it. Okay. And 80s cartoon villain. And I love, man, the name combined with that icon. Oh, bro, you hit the feels, man. He says, and he's become a channel member. Thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate the support. It's always great to have you with us. Thank you so much. So yeah, give us your Kofi theory, because I have one of my own. Continue.
So this is probably going to be what you're going to say, but the reason for the crackdown on all the emulators is because the Switch 2 is basically going to be a Switch Pro, and they know that all these handhelds that are coming out are going to play even Switch 2 games better than the Switch 2. and that's a little bit disappointing to me because I thought that they were going to push the envelope and give us something that because it's going to last another 8 years. But really, this is just a continuation of what they're doing with Switch. And if that is the case, that tells me that a lot of the games that are going to come with the Switch 2 are still going to work on the OG Switch. And
day one, you're going to be able to emulate all of the Switch 2 games. They don't want that.
You are, but I also wonder, since it's going to be so close, are they going to make anything that takes advantage of the new hardware, or is this a spec bump and they're still going to want to sell the next Mario game to all 150 million OG Switch users?
I know they're going to want to sell to all 150 million, but over time, I think you're going to start seeing just like the new 3DS XL, right? Over time, now all of a sudden, one or two games only are available on that one. But by and large, the library shares across
that's much less interesting than Nintendo.
I know.
Something wildly new.
I know. And that's why when I saw those leaks, I was sad, because if it is true that those are the leaks, and shout out to King David, he's still on his square that they're not, and he doesn't want to believe them, because that means Nintendo has turned over to a different system, and now they're no longer the toy makers. Now they're the company trying to keep their riches, which I agree with would be a sad state of affairs. I'm sorry?
MJ Dark's last comment?
MJ Dark's last comment. He says, then how come Nintendo hasn't come for I and Neo with the 3D with the Flip DS? They have showed emulation Nintendo games.
Here's the thing, MJ Dark, give them time.
Yes.
It took them almost a year to come after Power World or Pocket Pair.
Yep. And how many people have bought the 3DS, the Flip DS? If it becomes this zeitgeist thing, if it becomes this movement where everybody's like, oh, this is so cool, you know damn well the ninjas will come out. And they may or may not also want to mess with them, because although obviously Ioneo is a smaller company, they still have enough money to at least do some tit for tat battles in the boardroom. Maybe Nintendo doesn't want to play with that, because technically Nintendo's got no pot to piss in when it comes to like coming after Ioneo about to Flip DS. They're just throwing their weight around, hoping that they'll bully you into submission. And by and large, the smaller creators will do that because they ain't got the money to hang, right? I think Aya can hang with the big dogs at least for a while if Nintendo came after them. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see. But it is an interesting thought, though. It is an interesting thought. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the games that I have been playing, and like I said, there are a few games that I've been playing. Some I can show off, and some I cannot. Let me first start with what I would consider low-hanging fruit, which is a game that came out that people have been playing, and if you haven't played it, I think you should. It's all local. It's not actually. Is there online? I don't think so. I think it's all local. It's a game called All You Need Is Help. Now, if you haven't had a chance to try this, I honestly think you should. You can at least you have to at least have 2 players, but ideally you want 4 players. But 2 players is unique because if you have 2 players, then like this the visuals just showed just now, what you can do with those 2 players is you can literally set it up so that the controller, the Xbox controller, because this is an Xbox, by the way, Xbox Game Pass game, the Xbox controller, this stick will control one user and the other stick will control another user. So now 2 different guys will be controlled with the one stick, and then the other player can do the same. And now you're playing with 4 characters, only with 2 users, right? It's really interesting how they do it. And it breaks your brain, it's a weird thing. And basically the long and short of this game is everything you do, you need help. All you need is help. That's the name of the game. Let me fast forward a little bit through this footage. Like, you can't turn, it's basically Tetris pieces and things. You can't turn, you can't move. You need your buddies to help you turn and move and find like the righteous way to thread the needle on the puzzles. And it's not just this. They do other puzzles. There's like instances where you have to like press buttons in order. in order to traverse to the next area. It is super fun.
This is such
requires
a Nintendo game.
Yes, it is. It is very Nintendo energy. I played this for the first time at the Xbox booth at Gamescom, and I thought it was wonderful. Like the developer, she was so gregarious and excited about her game, handing controllers to everybody. You got to try this. You got to try this. And it's very fun. Like, it is very fun. My kids and I have been playing this all week. We love it. It's great. It's just wholesome fun. Well, okay, I will say it's wholesome fun. If you are not one that communicates with your partners, you may want to step away from this one, because you're gonna get pissed off really quickly. you need help. You need like proper communication to get any of this done. And while you're doing this, by the way, tick tock, the time is drawing near. So it's like giving you pressure. It's a fun game. It's a easy game to recommend. I actually would love to do like a live stream one day and play with a bunch of people, because man, it gets really, really crazy when you're like talking to people. You when you're on the couch with people, your elbows come out, because this is, it's that kind of game. But it's very fun. So if you haven't tried it out, all you need is help. It's on Game Pass right now. It dropped into Game Pass day one. It's pretty cool. I really, really enjoy it. Whenever I have a chance to play games with my kids, these are the games I gravitate towards. You're gonna say everyone.
No. You love seeing stuff like this, like creative new ideas, or new twists on existing ideas, because there aren't any real new ideas. But like, this is the kind of thing. Like when you see things like this, when you see things like a Vampire Survivor, when you see things like an It Takes Two, like it's just. This is what it's about.
It's magic, man. It's magic. It's gameplay over anything else. It's a simple little game, and everyone can understand it. And the controls are like super easy, but it doesn't mean that the gameplay is easy. You get to very complicated, brain teasy things. It's excellent. More and more people should play it. Now,
all right. Pixel
BT Maverick.
The chat.
Oh, the great big Pixel is here. Shout out to you, good sir. I had a great chat with him yesterday. We've been chatting in the Discord. BT Maverick 707 with a $2 super chat. He asked a very interesting question, which is, have you guys jumped into Kill Knight yet? And with that, my next game is Kill Knight. So there you go. Shout out to you. You picked your time quite perfectly. Now, before I get into it, I will preface this by saying I was provided a code. First off, I actually played this the same place I played All You Need Is Help. I actually played Kill Knight as well at the Xbox booth at Gamescom. This was right next to what do you call it? Replaced. And for those who went to Gamescom, you'll know that when you go into these areas, they put the games that have violence behind like Shroud, like behind a small room. So I'm like, oh, what's in this small room? And it was this, and it was Replaced. This game is awesome. First off, I was provided a code by via Keymailer. So shout out to the developer for providing me a code. I really appreciate being able to cover it for the channel, and I might even do a write up on it as well. I think it's an awesome game. The initial like elevator pitch for this is Doom Eternal meets what's another game? It's got some very much what do you call it? It's hard as heck is the best way I can describe it. It's got Doom Eternal vibes to it as well because of some of the gameplay elements of it, and it's very arcade style. It's super fun and tense. If you and this is where I put my cheap plug in once again and tell you to join us on the Discord. If you had joined us on the Discord, you've noticed that I've been playing this game all day yesterday and the day before while I'm chatting with my brothers on the Discord, and we're in the Discord party chat. I've been streaming this game and playing this for the audience. It is a game like as you guys know, I tend to have lots of games that I'm playing, and then I have games for different situations. I have my palate cleansers. This has been the palate cleanser that has actually become my obsession. I can't stop playing this game. It is really fascinating and really, really fun. Now, usually games like this tend to have procedurally generated worlds, right? So that it keeps the game fresh or whatnot. This does not, right? Which initially I thought would have made it stale, but I actually find that it makes it even better because the game is really hard. You will die a lot, like a whole lot, right? You will continue to die. And the fact that the stages and the enemies show up the same way they always do while you traverse the world, it helps you remember where you failed so you can make new strategies to traverse that divide the next time you get there, right? So I have really been enjoying the game. The game is by a developer called Playside Studios. They're an outfit out of Australia. It's basically an arcade shooter. It's top-down twin stick. It's really, really awesome. I've really enjoyed my time with it. There's a bunch of other games I should be playing, but Kill Knight has my life right now. Like, if just watching this footage, I want to stop this podcast right now and go play some more. I love this game, and every time I fail, I'm like, damn it, one more run, and I'm back at it. You know, it's one of those games. If I'm not mistaken, it's like $15. It's on everything at this point. It's on PC, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation. It's even on last gen Xbox One and PS4, and it's on Nintendo Switch. So there's no excuse to not to try it. It is really, really, really awesome. I'm going to continue playing it, and I most likely will do a review for it on thegamingcircle.com, which, hey, that is where I also do another cheap plug, which is come check out thegamingcircle.com. This week, we've had like 2 great articles that have been written for thegamingcircle.com. And this will be one that will join my articles, join the blog as soon as I have a chance to put real paces through the game. One article that came up was the great Infinite Umbra writing his preview on Metaphor Refantasio, and the great MJ Dark, the slanderous one, who was in our chat, who's been in our chat this episode, wrote a review on a game called Hollow Body, an indie style. What do you call it? It's an indie style, a PS2 era kind of horror game that he really enjoyed, that he reviewed for us. So go check out thegamingcircle.com if you haven't done so already. Give us some feedback. We're growing. We're building that new avenue for us as well. But yes, back to Kill Knight. If you have not had a chance to play this game, initially it looks like it has a pretty shallow premise, right? It doesn't seem like it's too complicated, but it is quite complicated. The gameplay mechanics are very, very interesting in that there are specific ways, and this is where the Doom influences come in. There are specific ways to get specific things that you need, and you have to remember that at all times while trying real hard not to be rushed by all these crazy monsters that show up. Like if you want to use your heavy weapon, you need to make sure you have bullets for your heavy weapon, and that only comes when you melee your enemies. So that's why you see me meleeing my enemies, because then it gives you bullets for the heavy weapon. And why do you need the heavy weapon? Because some of the enemies are harder to take down, easier, I should say, to take down with the heavy weapon than the regular weapon. Every time, for a short moment, when you dash, you become invincible, but like you will take damage real easily, and there's no health packs to get. But if you maximize a certain level in your weapon, you can then shoot this energy shot, which you just also saw me shoot. That, like right now, you shoot that energy weapon, and that energy weapon will then drop like green orbs that then replenish your health. So if you know your health is going down, it's time to shoot the energy weapon. If you know you need heavy weapons, it's time to do some melee. It's very interesting and cool in the way they implement that style. And it also has some of that Vampire Survivor energy, where you play, you lose, and then you go into the equipment store. If you've earned enough XP or enough of their experience points or whatever, then you can use that to unlock different weapons, unlock different armor, unlock different melee, different guns. It's very good. It's short, it's sweet, it's super addicting. You'll end up playing it instead of the game you meant to play. So there's that. I've been playing that, and shout out to Keymailer for providing me the code. I really appreciate it, and Playside for agreeing to allow me to get early access to it and potentially review it. So shout out to them for that. Like I said, I was going to talk about another game that I have been playing. Well, I will talk about another game I've been playing, which is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Obviously,
where were you
I will
playing
not
it,
show.
sir?
I was playing it on the Switch, and then I also played it. I started it on the Switch, and then I moved over to the X1 Mini, because on the Switch it's good. On the X1 Mini, it's better.
I'm going to ask you to excuse me for a second. I have to make a phone call.
Yeah. But as I said, you won't see any footage from me about that, because the Ninjas is out, And we if you don't want me to promote your game, I'm not gonna promote your game anyway. So whatever. It's a good game. People should play it. It's very interesting in its execution as far as gameplay is concerned. I love it. It's an awesome game, but you will never see footage of that game on my channel because Them Ninjas is out. It is what it is. Now, there's that. Now, let me catch up on a quick super chat and then I'll hit y'all with the last game I've been playing and we'll move on. The great J Mac with a $5 super chat. He says, shout out to the Gaming Circle podcast, KSante, Everborn Saga, Everborn Saga S tier content creators. Salute, gentlemen, graybeards in the building. Yes, sir. We appreciate you, sir. Always great to have you here. Doovie in the spot with $2 super chat. And he says, hit the like, family. We agree, sir, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much. If you have not done so, please, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button. Here's where I will then talk about the third game I was going to play. But unfortunately, in a rare feat. Now, if you have a chance to clip this, because Everborn Saga was right.
Ooh.
Man, life is hard when you have to finally bend the knee, even the smallest bit, because Everborn Saga was right. Okay, now, what am I talking about? Why was Everborn Saga right? All right, well, I was gonna show you my Shattered Space gameplay that I was playing, but this is all I have to show you in that. Because this is all I got of Shattered Space. This is all I continue to get of Shattered Space. And what is this? This is it telling me that the game that I bought and paid for, and by the way, I got the $300 edition with the watch, telling me that those components, which is the Shattered Space DLC, the Constellation part add-on, and the Old Mars add-on are not available, even though, damn it, they are. They are right there. What's happening? Let's tell you what's happening. Which is, and oh, by the way, how do I know that this is exactly what's happening? Freaking Bethesda has an article explaining what's happening and what the workaround is. Okay?
Now, can you just let the people know who are listening on audio, where is this happening? In what launcher?
This is happening on the Xbox PC app, which is dog water. Oh my God.
Oh, okay. Now,
so let me be clear. Whoa! You're not taking over this conversation. Let me state what is happening.
I don't think I have to.
Let me state what is happening, and then you can tell me what's what. Okay, so this is happening on the PC store. By the way, on the Xbox PC store. By the way, based on my research, it's not only happening on the Xbox PC store. You can still get this happen to you on the Steam store as well. Right?
I have not heard anyone with the game on Steam report that. But
sure. let me tell you, the reason why I tell you it can happen is because when I read through all of the research, like they even have a separate workaround on Steam. It's a known thing. Here's the issue. The issue is when it's downloading, it's not downloading the DLC in the hierarchy within the game so that it sees the game. No, it's downloading it side by side. So here's Starfield, the game, and then next to it is the DLCs. So how is it supposed to see that the DLCs are there when it's not within the subfolders, right? So what's the workaround? The workaround is, just go in here, grab these files, copy paste them into a subdirectory that they showed you to you. You do that, all is well. Okay, right? And shout out to the great members of the community, had the issue, reached out, spoke to some people in the DMs, they helped me resolve it. Okay, but here's the problem. Because this is Microsoft, right? And the folders they put them in, the minute they put them in those folders, and this is why people kept complaining about the Windows Store not allowing mods, right? As soon as they put them into that Windows folder, that specific folder the game installs with, it changes the permission of that folder. So even you as the user and administrator of the PC don't have the ability to copy paste files outside of that folder. You can move them, oddly enough, but you can't copy paste, right? And the instructions specifically say copy paste. When I move them to the folder they're supposed to be, the game boots up, crashes right away, multiple times. I've reinstalled all 100 whatever gigs many times.
Let me ask you
the solution. Let me finish. The solution they say that will work is copy paste it into the subfolder. you can't copy paste without fiddling with Windows permissions. So as we speak, while others are enjoying Shattered Space, I have a support ticket into Bethesda going, come on guys, what is this about? I still have not been able to play Shattered Space. So yeah, I hate to say it, but in this specific instance, the Everborn emotional saga is absolutely correct. So there you go. Go ahead, take your victory lap, sir.
Now, I just want to ask a very simple question. If this could theoretically happen to Steam users, right?
And it's not theoretically, it definitely has, because they've written an article similarly like this.
Not the article you have on screen, though, but sure.
No, not this one on screen. No.
Okay. Right. Now, if this is the fix and the workaround, do you have the permission to copy the folders from the Steam version of the app?
Well, obviously, because Steam can't control Windows. See, that's the thing. That's the difference. Calm down, sir. Calm down, sir.
Even if there is an issue, the workaround works on Steam, but not.
See, and Hargeet here with the right answer. You have to boot into safe mode to copy the files. I know. I can even go in. Hold on. I can even go in and change the permissions of the entire folder, make the change, and then change the permissions back. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, I'm a different use case. I'm a unique use case, right? For the console emotional gamer that has chosen to play on PC, this is not how you put your best foot forward. Now this is me putting on my Everborn Saga hat going, this is some BS. This is unacceptable.
You sound very emotional, sir. Where did the Xbox PC app touch you?
Right here.
Okay.
But you see, when you're right, I must give you credit. Right?
Okay.
Look.
How about
it's not easy.
How about
and Hargeet even copied the files instead of moving. He copied the files and it still didn't work for him.
Fantastic.
So me and Hargeet still have not been able to play the game. So there you go.
Now, how about when people have issues, we have a little empathy instead of waiting till it happens to us to feel the pain that other people were trying to tell you.
You see, about. and this is why through hook or crook, Everborn Saga is never right, because he gets ridiculous with it. This is what it is.
Okay. You don't understand until it happens to you, right?
No. Well, let me be clear. Even back when I was pushing back on you about the PC store, I never ever said you were wrong in that they need to fix it. I never said that. And y'all can look at the clips. Y'all can look it up. I have never said that, oh, the App Store is fine. No, I've never said that. I've said it will take some time. They'll get there. And by and large, let me be absolutely clear here. This is not me like, what the hell, this and that and the third. If I really wanted, I could go buy it on Steam. I'm just like, I have other games to play, so it's fine. But you are right in that if a normal user walked in going, hey, I have access to this game now, I'll play it on PC right now, that becomes a problem, right? It becomes a problem, and that's annoying. It really is, right? I know my way around a PC. I could fix this, right? I definitely could fix this. But the reason why I opened the ticket to Bethesda is this should not be somebody who knows how to get into safe mode or who knows how to go into permissioning and change it in order for this stuff to work, right? And based on Hargeet's word, even if you do what they're asking you to do, it may not work anyway. So I hope they know that there's actually a problem that they need to resolve. That's why I opened the ticket. But in this instance, I will say, hey, you were right with it, right? And it's not always this way. I play many games on the platform. That's not a problem, but this is a problem. This is definitely a problem. So there you go. Okay. I cannot show you my footage of Starfield Shattered Space because I can't play Shattered Space no matter what, in Windows anyway. I mean, I'm sure if I played it on the Xbox
of using the PC app. All I've ever asked is that they fix it. But I'm just gonna enjoy. I'm gonna take the victory lap. I'm not gonna rub it in because you are going through what you're going through, and I probably would go through this because I played the game originally on Xbox and through the Xbox PC app. But there's so many games out right now. I just decided I'm gonna wait until all. But
that's my point, right? And that right there is why I'm like this is me just bringing it because we've had this conversation. This is me bringing it to that congregation because now it like I've experienced it myself as well. So this is me bringing that up. But it's not me pissed off really, because there's just so many games that this just becomes one of the games that I can't play, that it gets backburnered until they fix it. No big deal. It is what it is.
Ooh,
so
Slow-Mo has an amazing comment.
Wait, what's Slow-Mo say? Oh yeah, because slow. So you want to highlight comments that that are slandering me?
Highlight that.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that. Silent Slow-Mo.
Screw you, Slow-Mo. We're not gonna speak on you right now, sir. Well, today the role of the slanderous one in the chat will be fulfilled by Erodimus, because Slow-Mo has advocated his responsibilities. That's what we're doing right now. It is what it is. Anyway, shout out to all the over almost 200 people that are watching this. If you are watching it and you like the content, please consider hitting the like button. Consider being a member. Consider subscribing. All that good stuff. We do this every Saturday morning. Catch me and Mr. John Wolf on Monday nights on the Gamers Playground, where I will continue to talk and slander the Xbox PC app until they fix this thing, because it is a problem. Okay, calm down. Yes, it's happened to me. So now it's a problem. There you go. I'll admit it. There you go. That's fine.
Now you realize you need Obamacare.
Wow. We are not doing that political thing. We are not doing that, sir. That is terrible. That is terrible. That is terrible. Don't do that. Don't do that. But okay.
Man.
Let us switch to some of the news topics that are coming up. We have some interesting stories going on, and I want to save the real fun ones towards for the end. But let's start with this one, and I have to ask you what your thoughts are here. Horizon Online game is reportedly Gorilla's next major product. Am I wrong when I say that Horizon has become PlayStation's knack?
Knack for what?
You don't know the game
you're
knack?
Talking about the game. I get it. It was a joke. Jesus Christ. But what did they? I don't think they.
It seems that no one really wants more in this game. Well, because Knack 1 came out, everybody was like, oh, that was all right. And then Knack 2 came out, and people were like, come on, man. Is this the only way Cerny gets the job done? He'll build you your PC. He'll build you your console if you let him make a Knack game. Because nobody really wanted Knack 2, and they still made it. You know what I'm saying? It seems that the only way you get Herman to work is if you promise him that this IP continues to live, even though clearly I'm the only one that seems to like it. And now they're going for an online game, in addition to a Lego game, in addition to TV shows that were started and then canceled. Am I the only one that likes this game?
Yes, it's just you. No, but on a serious note, I think
Dorian says it's Sony's most profitable IP. Is it? Is it? That'd be surprising. And I love the game. I have many hours in the game. Is it really? That's surprising to me.
How many didn't it sell tens of millions of copies all in, if you count the PC releases and everything? So, just
it does make sense then. All right.
Numbers wise, I guess for them. And again, I think sometimes it is like somebody's playing these games, even if it's not us. Right. You play.
I mean, I am. I'm playing. That's right.
But the question, well, not the question is, I just think this tells us more about Sony. This is like a vestige of the live service strategy. Like, we heard all the main studios in the background were working on these things. Now, my question is, does this see the light of day? Right. And we can poke fun at Concord, right? But we'll see what Marathon does, and we'll see what Fair Games does. But and again, Helldivers did well. So
real quick, I will say, Andrew, we appreciate your slanderous nature, but when you tip the scale and start going a little too far, I will block you, sir. Refrain from using such degrading language towards people. I don't appreciate that. Please, sir. I will give you one chance. Otherwise, you will be banished to the Shadow Realm, sir. Please continue.
Don't let Lucius Augustus see whatever he said, because Lucius Augustus has way less patience than you.
I'm just saying, you can be slanderous, but we keep it PG-13 here, right? We attack the issues, not the people. and you're pointing at the people. I don't appreciate that. Go ahead.
Be nice is what he's saying.
Yes, absolutely.
But you're more than welcome to make fun of us. Just be nice to the chat. I think this is more of that, and it makes me wonder who else is working on a service game. Is the next Sony Santa Monica game single player or multiplayer?
The rest of their real good studios have been notoriously silent. The ones that you know of, the ones you hear about all the time, they have been notoriously silent. Are they all adding live service components into their otherwise, regular known IPs? It is an interesting thought.
Right? Because Insomniac was working on one. They shut that down. Naughty Dog was working on Factions. They shut that down. Does this see the light of day?
That's an interesting thought. Yeah. And this is a new report. So at least as of the 30th of September, this was a thing that a journalist at VGC, which Tom Ivan, who I have no reason to believe would not be acting with integrity, stood behind. So at least from that time, it was still on deck. Question is, how long will it continue to be on deck? Yeah, it is a valid question, considering that they are now looking to seemingly pivoting from the live service world.
When is Fair Games coming out?
Oh, I have no idea, but let me look that up real quick while we're chatting here. Fair Games release date. But yeah, May. No, that's definitely not true. Why is Fair Games now the unfortunate byproduct of all this? Is that the canary in the coal mine to tell you if they're moving forward or not?
No, well, so again, it feels as though they may be changing directions in terms of, okay, they said they were working on like 12 or 15 live service games, right? How many of those have we seen? How many of those have turned out to be a success? And how many of them have we heard that they have canceled and they cannot, I mean, listen, they can afford whatever they want, but I don't think they want another Concord, right? And so the question is, was Ghost of Yote supposed to be a multiplayer game? Right?
Although, let's be real clear.
Ghost of Tsushima had a very good multiplayer mode.
Really good multiplayer mode, which and that always seems to happen. It's so odd. Whenever PlayStation has excellent multiplayer modes, most people don't play it. It doesn't become a thing, right? Like just like people, those who know and those who love The Last of Us multiplayer or Uncharted's multiplayer, there are really good multiplayer modes tied to these games that never go anywhere.
Let's hold off in terms of going anywhere. I think this idea that a multiplayer has to live on in perpetuity for 10 and 15 years.
Sure. Then it turns to live service.
That I think there's an important distinction between having a multiplayer mode versus a whole ass live service game.
Yeah, and I live on beyond the game service game. Yeah.
I think it's fine to have a multiplayer mode that just gives people something extra after they finish a campaign. You make the game, you sell 10, 20 million, hopefully, if it's a good game. People play the multiplayer for a little while, and then that's it. It doesn't have to be a battle pass, come back every week, clock into the game like a job. So, I think what they did with the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer, what they did with the first Factions, that should be fine.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I will try this because I do see the potential of it, right? The way they have the factions built in, and by factions I mean factions in game, not factions as in the game, but in game. In the world of Horizon, they have different factions do different things that are responsible for different things, different classes, different monsters, different attire. You could build a nice, interesting online world, persistent world where lots of interesting different things are happening, and Aloy isn't the hero savior that's going to come everywhere that come save everybody. You can have different characters do different things. There is a potential there, right? People tend to give Aloy, specifically the character, some smoke because they don't like the way the character is drawn or written from a narrative perspective.
You've played the game a lot, right?
I have, yeah.
So what about the way that game works? And I have this is a genuine question because I only have maybe 10 hours in the first game, and that was enough for me. But what have you played in that game that makes you feel like it could work as an ongoing service game?
Yeah. So what I was saying, like exactly what I was saying. So yes, the main protagonist has been the focus, right? But if you take the main protagonist out of it, the world is really large, and it doesn't have to center around this one weird character or the character that may be polarizing to some, right? There are many different tribes in that world, right? And each of those tribes have different pluses and minuses, right? Some of them are all about the winged animals, and animals, I mean robots, right? And they've built the whole world, a whole civilization around flying everywhere. Others ride the dinosaurs. Others do this. Others, and they each have different weapons that speak to that different world that they live in. It's like different tribes in a primitive world, but all of them use the robotics as their bedrock of their society. It's kind of like thinking about this game without Aloy in the mix. It's kind of like Monster Hunter. Right, same idea. Where you go, you take down some badass monster, and then you use that monster.
Freddy's meets Monster Hunter.
I don't know about Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't get where the mechanical, where the gameplay aspects of that ties in.
Five Nights at Freddy's. The lore of the robots taking over. And
sure. Okay, yeah, that part. Okay, I can get that. But no, I do think, all jokes aside about people who don't like Aloy and all that, I do think the world itself could benefit from a persistent world where lots of different things happen. Hey, we're part of this clan, you're part of that clan, and they all do different things, and they're trying to take over or something. There's like a lot of internal within the game strife that the clone who saves it all, spoiler alert, comes in and clears up. Without that protagonist there's still a lot of rife, interesting world building that they've already created.
How would the mechanics of the multiplayer work, though? Just because the way I look at the game, the way you beat bosses and climb on them and do those other things, it really, I don't know how you turn that into, how you translate that to multiple people playing together and doing things.
So it wouldn't be a PvP game. It'd all be PvE, right? And if you recall any of the story, which probably you'd be forgiven
like Final Fantasy 14, it would be that kind of MMO kind of thing.
Kind of. Right, you'd be forgiven if you don't remember the story, but there's a big AI, right? There's a huge AI that is looming large that potentially will kill that world, right? And it's spitting out crazy, weird monster combinations, one bigger, badder than the rest. And obviously, it's like every encounter could be a raid where multiple people who've gone into the world and slayed various monsters and attached those various components to their arsenal to make themselves better. Then we all get together, as a tribe, as a group, and we take down these badass monsters, right? It is doable. I see people in the chat saying it's kind of like Ark, right? It has an Ark kind of style to it. It really could work in that world, and the graphics are beautiful. The moment to moment gameplay aspects of it is really not to be denied. Like, it's really good. That's why I spent so much time in it. It's not because the story is so great. I just find the bigger, badder monsters and try to see if I can take them down without stealthing my way through it, because now you're powerful enough to be able to do those kind of things,
Don't they jump to slow motion shots a lot in the game?
No, not always. The only way you jump,
right?
No. The only way you jump into slow motion is if you use a special attack that uses arrows. But there's so many other weapons you can use besides arrows, right? And even the arrow shot, like there's a mechanic where if you're trying to dislodge a component on a specific animal, then you hit that slow motion button and it lasts for only a certain amount of time so you can aim your shot correctly. Because depending on the arrow, some arrows will just destroy, other arrows will dislodge because they're not as powerful. So you want that component, you find that component, you dislodge that component, and now it's part of your arsenal. You know, they have interesting mechanics there. They really do. I think that beyond the protagonist that people don't like, that world looks really good. Like, it looks really good, and could potentially have interesting game mechanics and persistent world gameplay elements in them.
Can we get a poll in the chat to see who would be excited for Monster Hunter style?
That's a bad poll though, because most people hate this game.
Yeah, but I'm like, no, that's not true. Most people.
That's why I say this is this is a knack.
That is not true. Most people hate the story of the game, at least.
But because the story of the game is what you come for, most people don't last long enough to see what I see, which is that the story may be reductive in certain instances, maybe the protagonist isn't good, but the world itself is worth something. If the story doesn't grab you, if the protagonist doesn't grab you, you're out. So most people don't even get to that level where they see what I see.
Come and play the multiplayer if they're not interested in
But this is my point. That's a bad. That's why I say this is a bad poll, because most people don't like it.
We could be helping Sony out right now. Who knows?
Yeah. You think you're helping Sony?
I think you just don't want to
dead horse.
I think you just don't want to see Horizon. But listen, I have a feeling the chat would want to see this in a multiplayer, because you know why? It'll come day and date to PC, and they'll play it there.
True. All right, so I'll put a poll. I'll put a poll up. All right.
By the way, I was considering getting the remaster on PC, just because I haven't played it, but I feel like I'm just gonna fall asleep on it again. So I don't know.
Here you go. Yeah. TC, this is what we're doing. All right. So I put it. I'm gonna. Hold on here. No, my bad. I put a poll in the chat. And it's a very simple poll. The question is Horizon Online game, and your choices are I'm down, hell no, or no more knack please. There you go. So those are your choices. To your point about the remaster on PC, like, say what you will about these games, they are lookers. Like, oh my god. And as I am who I am in the position I'm in, I will always reiterate, no other game short of Alan Wake 2 has represented black people better than this game. It looks so, I mean, wow, mouth agape, holy crap. Did they just like video record black people and put them in this game? Because I've never seen a game do better. So I'll always give them a slow clap for that one. But all right. So we've slandered me.
Sony is the Joe Biden of live service games.
Man, that is just cold hard. That is cold blooded, man. Cold blooded right there. Hey, leave Grandpa Joe alone. He ain't done nothing to you. What's wrong with you? The great Don Otaku with a $5 super chat. He says Horizon as a multiplayer, Ark style survival, or Monster Hunter like would really work well. See, the man knows what he's talking about. I agree with you. And most people don't give it a chance because yes, they don't like the story. It is what it is. And let's see. Let's move forward. Okay. So, because I'm done with people slandering my takes on things, let's talk a little bit about something that I found super funny and interesting. Yes, it's funny, but it brings up an interesting question I have to ask you.
Wait, don't ask the question yet. I would like to take a moment to shill for the Kickstarter that we only have. We're in the middle of the show. Let's talk about the Kickstarter. We won't be long. All right, can we bring up the Kickstarter on screen?
It's right. Ooh, and of course, I'm showing my payments of the Kickstarter.
Oh, easy.
It's right
easy
here on screen.
Easy, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Right?
All right. So we hit the goal earlier this week, but now we're barreling towards our
3 days to go, people. 3 days to go.
And I mean, you guys see, like, if you've watched this show at all, the kind of artwork that we've got on display, that we're telling a sprawling epic fantasy. That we've got 3 different series that are all interconnected. You know that this is our third time coming to Kickstarter and our third time in a row being funded. You know that the book is already printed and ready to go, and we will be shipping the orders out this month. And you know that if you're going to be at New York Comic Con, you can pick up your pledge right there. You know all this, but what you may not know, Kay, if you scroll down to the stretch goal section, you should be able to select it right there. We've got 3 days, and if we hit our stretch goal, what we are doing for everyone that backed this campaign is, well, before we get to that, we're gonna launch a new book, and this is a whole new series in the Everborn saga, Everborn: The Remnant. Now, the whole saga revolves around a struggle between the Seraphs and the Paladins. And specifically, the Paladins have their own army called the Stoics, and they hunt down Seraphs. But the Seraphs have found a way to bring back their fearless leader, Magnus, who is the Everborn, and that's going to spring the world into chaos. That's what our whole story revolves around, and there's a bunch of interesting characters along the way there. And so the Remnant follows the Seraphs side of the story. That is a book that we are releasing parts 1 and 2 at the end of 2025. But part 1 is already done. And so we are going to give a copy, whether you did physical or digital, you'll get a physical or digital copy of the part 1 of the book completely for free. So if we hit our stretch goal, everybody benefits. We're going to give chapter 1 away. It is a little over 60 pages, and it follows Alice Ravenwood. She is Seraph, but she doesn't know it yet. She goes to Woodhaven, and she's being recruited as a Stoic, and they hunt Seraphs, but she doesn't know she's a Seraph yet. It's a whole thing, but this ties everything together. And as I say, if we hit the new stretch goal, we will be able to do a print run of this, and it'll be limited just to this Kickstarter. If not, this is not coming out until the end of 2025. But you guys, because you supported this campaign, you will just get it for free, because it's kind of our way of giving back. So if you have already pledged, there are a ton of add-ons that you can get. There's variant covers, and I'll show those in a second. I might have to share my screen for those. But the variant covers are also exclusive to this campaign, so we will not print those again. So if you add those on, this will be the only time you get it. And every physical book that comes with this campaign comes signed, which you will not get if you normally order these. So please consider, if you've pledged already, look at the add-on. We've got a bunch of amazing ones, and if you haven't pledged, this is your last chance to do so. You see what we're doing here. So check it out. We've hit the goal already. We've already printed the books. Everybody's gonna get their listen. This is another thing. On Tuesday, when you start getting those surveys, make sure you fill them out right away, because we will be shipping immediately following the end of the campaign. So yeah, check it out. It would be greatly appreciated.
I hope,
and I'll show you guys the variant cover later, because I got to pull it up on my screen. But you really want those variant covers, because there's only
a self-serving request from me. I hope we hit those stretch goals, because I want that remnant book 1. I want that. Let's go. Come on, people. We only have a small amount of time. By the way, 3 days, you can do it.
Yes, and if we hit it, you don't have to do anything. You're just going to get the book. You don't have to do an add-on. You don't have to buy anything else. We're just giving the book away if we hit that stretch goal.
Awesome. Very cool. Mr. Don Otaku with another $5 super chat. He says, you can't leave out Suicide Squad that has some of the best black hair texture work I've ever seen. Shout out to Del Walker. Sir, I've played a little bit of Suicide Squad. I actually have it installed. I haven't finished playing it yet. You know, Grazer over here. But what I have seen is real cool. I do appreciate that. The reason why I give Horizon just the edge is because they have just so many different kinds, so many different people in that game. and they all look good. It's not like, oh yeah, they just have one person and that person looks good. No, the men, the women, their children, they all look like they just they stepped out of a movie. You know, they do a great job there. So that's why I give them the edge. But yes, I don't disagree with you that it's good.
I'm gonna play the trailer and then we can move on to the next topic.
Sure.
So let me add my
screen
to the thing.
Well, hold on. Yeah, you should have let me know. We do that in a different way.
Okay, no, you do it. Please, you do it. You see it there.
Yep, I got you. Hold on. How am I going to do this? Let's see if we can do it this way. All right. So hold on here. Yeah, we can't do it this way. This is not good. All right. So we'll do it through the welcome screen. How about that? Oh, hey now. Did I lose Mr. Everborn Saga?
No, I'm here. All right. I'm here.
And we're adding it. All right. So here we go. We'll play the trailer. Here we go.
All right.
There you go. And then I can maximize it and hit the play button. Now, we have no audio. Just so you know.
Are you able to maximize that?
I am able to maximize that. So how about you talk us through what we're seeing?
All right. So this is our trailer for the book. You can see these are real panels from the book that you're getting to get an idea of the artwork. We opened on our Marvel style cinematic universe because we've got our bunch of different interconnected series. And everything we've done here has kind of been plussed, like from the colors to the lines, even the ink and paper that we chose for the book. It's all been leveled up. I know we took a long time on this, but we took our time because we really wanted to up the production value. It's also the largest book we've ever done, 72 pages. And that's Pixelbit G, by the way, for friend of the community. He backed the first campaign, so now he's in the book. Hargeet will be in one of the future books. And so, yeah, I just wanted to show that to everybody so they understand the level of quality that we're dealing with. So back this. Yes, support us, but back it because you like cool shit. But okay, so let's get back to the gaming talk.
Absolutely, sir. And thanks to all those who have already backed the Kickstarter. And if you haven't had a chance to yet, please do so, because we want to finish strong, man. We want to finish strong. And with your help, that is definitely something that can be done. But let's get back to the gaming topics at hand. And yes, Mr. Hargeet Chani, it is EV. It's growing pains, but it's nice. I like the way this thing's working so far. But yeah, Everborn Saga, I have this question for you. Right? I was sitting here at work. I was sitting in the living room. I was in my office, I should say. I was working, and then I saw this, and then I almost had to spit out my tea because I was just like, "Are we serious right now?" So, Sonic the Hedgehog boss says PS5 Pro justifies its $700 price and could allow for, quote, games that can express the speed of Sonic. AKA, we ain't had any consoles that were fast enough, that were powerful enough to express the speed of Sonic. But the PS5 Pro, yeah, now you can really see how Sonic goes. Now we finally are there. We're finally at that place you can now see Sonic's speed. Mr. Everborn Sonic, what are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with him?
This is what it looks like when you're not doing kumbaya energy, okay? He's talking up his product. He's saying our character's so good and so fast, you need the best of the best in the console space. And he's just advertising, man.
So the fact that his game runs like dog water on a 4090.
Don't worry about all that. Don't worry about all of that.
It's
Sonic
this box.
The best.
This box is what's going to make you see the actual speed
Absolutely.
of Sonic.
And make sure if you're picking up that PS5 Pro and you're a pay pig, that you pick up Sonic X Shadow Generations with Keanu Reeves doing the voice. Get the premium edition. Here's the thing. And jokes aside, because there are lots of jokes here. Jokes aside, the last time I saw this kind of marketing from, let's be honest, from PlayStation, right? It seemed like they were trying to move a product. Historically, it was a PlayStation 5, right?
We saw Epic come out and sit on a couch and literally do a PlayStation ad talking about that's the only way Unreal 5 would run, basically, right? They basically sold the snake oil that this can only be done with the power of the PlayStation 5, and now Switch games run on Unreal Engine 5. It is what it is, right? And now I'm seeing this. These guys don't just weigh in on things because they are console warriors or whatever and want to add their voices to the conversation. Do you think this correlates to a product or a project or some kind of collaboration with PlayStation? Because that's the only way this statement makes sense to me. Like, there's some background moving and shaking. There's some money being changing hands, like what Sonic has done. What Sega has done with iOS, right? Working with Apple, creating a game. Maybe PlayStation's knocking on their door saying, "Hey, man, we got an interesting project we want to work with you on," and it may be a PlayStation exclusive. What do you think of that?
I doubt that they're doing any PlayStation exclusive, but in the same way, being deck verified will sell more games. Right? Well, people will see it's deck verified and it's kind of a marketing thing. I think having a PS5 Pro version is going to sell games because, again, if you're buying a PS5 Pro, you are an enthusiast and you're going to look for games that take advantage of that. So anyone that says they have a mode, especially in the early
this correlates with the Sonic V Shadow that's coming out soon?
1,000%.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So that this is the thing. Hey, you guys want to see what the power of this thing can do. You just bought one. Now you want to buy games that have PS5 Pro modes. We want to get on that train because now we'll get mentioned every time the PS5 Pro gets mentioned. Right? So and it's the same reason Rod Ferguson wanted to let everybody know there was going to be a pro version of Diablo, because then when people buy that, they're going to look for things that take advantage.
To be fair, Rod Ferguson wasn't offering that statement. Someone specifically asked him and he answered. Right?
That's fine, but now
he didn't come out of nowhere. This guy basically seemingly is like offering, "Hey, guess what?" Versus the other one, somebody literally asked him on the Twitter streets, and that's why.
Right, but Twitter is public and he knows that. I'm saying the reason you say that's part of your marketing plan. So I think that's what this is about. Him saying, "Hey, mention the game that we happen to be selling at the same time that the PS5 Pro comes out. Mention our game too, because we want to sell that game."
Yep. No, I can see that being a reason. I can see that being a thing that.
Didn't you just tell me not to listen to what the executives say? They're just marketing.
No. I didn't say that. When did I say this?
You said that when we talked about what Xbox tells us before versus what they're doing now.
Oh no. When the marketers are talking, you don't listen to them. But when an executive speaks,
like Phil
they
Spencer.
are very they're very strategic in their wording. You don't like, I'm not saying what he says is 100% fact. That's not what I'm saying. But they can't lie because that brings connotations. That brings like actual legal connotations. They have to be very strategic in their verbiage. Whereas Aaron Greenberg does not have to be strategic in his verbiage, right?
Okay,
that's why I'm like, there's a difference.
I'm not talking about anything, nor was I ever talking about anything Aaron Greenberg said. I was talking about what executives said, and this is
but Aaron Greenberg is an executive.
Yeah, but we were talking about what Phil and the other people said. So
okay.
I'm just saying, this makes total sense to me. And if I was the boss here, I'd say
you do the same thing
because I want to sell.
Of course you would, because you're a Sonic shill. It is.
Listen, let me tell you something right now. The Everborn Kickstarter has a PS5 Pro version. Go back.
There you go. There you go. That's what it is. That's right. All right. So.
Oh wait,
I wanted to bring
really
this,
quick,
okay.
just because I got it on my screen. Can you show my screen really quick? I want to show those variant colors.
Okay. Give me one moment. Let me bring that back up to the stage. And here we are.
Okay, so
we have it.
Let's full screen that if we can. All right, so this is the main cover, right? This will always be available, and this is what you're getting with your pledge. But here is one of the two variant covers that is only available as a part of this campaign and will never be available again. There are only 50 of these printed, and here's the other one.
Mhm.
Pixelbit G made the cover. But yeah, so this is something you can add as an add-on to your pledge if you haven't already. So please check these out. You will never get these again, and they will come signed. And so one day when we take the $1 billion buyout and Everborn's a big IP,
Sell out. When he sells out,
absolutely.
then Pixel G will sue him for his likeness. I understand.
That's a bridge that we will cross together when we get to
it. Understood. No, this is great variant covers.
These are the two
variant.
They're
awesome. Yeah, they're indeed awesome. I do like that. But okay, let's get back to the news. And I want to talk about this because I have to say I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited about this for multiple reasons, and you'll understand why in a minute. I'm excited about 343 out of nowhere dropping the bomb that they're going third person with certain modes in Halo. Okay, now obviously, if you're a Halo person, you're probably excited because you've asked for this for some time, and now it looks like they're giving you what you asked for. As you can see, it's really cool. Based on the reading I've done, it will start with a few modes, firefight being the first mode, and then ultimately more modes may come. And they're opening the door. They're opening the door to this for forgers who want to use this kind of camera angle for various Forge games. I think this will be really good in the Helldivers that they're trying to produce in the game. So that's probably some of the reasons that led to this. But I guess the reason why I am so excited about this, the reason why this is great I was super genuinely happy about this, is because this tells me that we've heard this phrase be thrown around pretty frequently in gaming in general, but by Xbox as well, which is to surprise and delight fans. And I don't think they've done that since maybe the June showcase, right? When E-Day showed up and people were just blown away. Oh my God. But even in that instance, there were rumor and speculation about, well, it's going to be the Marcus Phoenix collection or this and that and the third. This is the first time in a long time, and I've spoken to people in the background, people who would know what's going down if no one saw this coming. This was any given Friday, they just dropped it. Everyone, even the quote unquote insiders, were just like mouth agape. What the heck happened? Awesome, right? This tells me that the leakiest of leaky ships, which is Microsoft, still has some room to be able to, keep things close to the vest and be able to delight fans with surprises that they didn't see coming. What are your thoughts, Mr. Everborn Saga? Is this something that you are interested in? Obviously, it's multiplayer only right now. So what are your thoughts?
So I think this is great, and strategy wise, like the forgers, that's great because again, they can create the Fortnite style mode with this now, and they can create a Helldivers kind of mode with this. So that gives the game more legs. But the only progression in Halo Infinite is tied to cosmetics, right? Like you can't upgrade weapons. Everybody's at the same. You can't upgrade your character. Everybody's at the same level playing field.
It's all about skill. It's not about anything else. The whole thing is about you play, you get skills. Yeah.
But again, so cosmetics is really the only reward for the time that you put in. Ultimately.
Yes, which makes this a good thing because now you get to see those cosmetics.
Exactly. So if cosmetics is all you're working for, people want to see those cosmetics instead of seeing the work that everyone else has put in while they play. You get to see yourself and that those new cat ears that you just spent $50 on, right?
Right.
And so I think this is a great thing, and it'll entice people to either spend more time to earn gear or to spend more money.
Yeah,
to buy gear.
now my Dusty Spartan is not good enough anymore because now you can see him. Now I can see that he's a Dusty Spartan. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. You got the Payless Spartan, and now
that's
everybody else has the grip. You could live with it when you just have to look at your hands. But
That's right.
now, you
Now,
know,
now you can see the dust off of him when he's rolling
now,
around. That may
now
not
you
be his
hit
best.
yourself with the what are those? But the thing
Yep.
is, I do have questions, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is, will you be able to switch back and forth in gameplay? Will
I think it's a
people?
mode,
It's a
meaning
mode, right?
when you play it, that's all
Either
you're getting. You
everyone's
can't
first
switch back and
person or
forth.
everyone's third person.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and this is again, this is historic and monumental. This is a 25-year
Yes.
old IP, and
Yes.
it's always been known as
And
an
no
FPS.
one knew this was gonna happen. They just kind of dropped it on your head, like out of nowhere. This is wild to
Now,
me.
which again, Pierre Hines, we knew what
Yeah,
he
true.
did for the Master Chief Collection. We said he
Indeed.
was the
Yes.
guy that
Yeah.
that could bring it back. And
Mm-hmm.
this is I'm not saying this is the silver bullet, but this is
No.
definitely a very good positive
But
for the
see,
game.
I have to be the only party pooper here because most people don't care, but I do. This is only the multiplayer, not the campaign. I would
Okay,
have loved
I
this to
want
be
to
the
talk.
campaign.
I want to talk to you
Yeah.
about that. I
Mm.
do not know that I would want this in the state that it's in the campaign, right?
Okay. Explain. Explain.
And their Halo single player campaign, the way the camera work is done, the way the game plays, the way the cutscenes are set up, I do not think playing that game in third person will
Well,
be
but
kind to the cinematics of the game, right?
nothing you're saying is insurmountable. Cutscenes, it can zoom you right back
Yeah, but
into his
even
head. That's
the
fine.
moment to moment
And
play, this still
and
feels like a multiplayer camera that's just glued to your back. There's more work that has to go
obviously,
into the camera.
and I'm not
If
saying there isn't. I'm not saying it's just move it back and then Bob's your uncle. Obviously, you'll have to contend with more because framing is far more important in a campaign than framing is in a multiplayer setting. I'm just saying that if this is possible, it's worth doing even in a single player setting. And I'm just sad that in general, they look to be sacrificing the single player and just focusing their energies on the multiplayer when they could tell more stories in this world.
Well,
right?
but I think that criticism is separate from whether they should put a third person mode in a Halo game, and I don't think it works. Now as a spin-off that is solely designed around a third person camera, that then we're talking that I would be for. But like bolting on third player is easier to do in a third person is easier to do in a multiplayer setting than it is to do in a main campaign. And I don't ever want to Halo campaign.
I won't deny that like framing, camera angles and framing and cinematics, very important in a single player context, far more than in a multiplayer context. So the work done to make this workable in multiplayer would be far more extensive in single player, right? Although I would also say like because it's a multiplayer game, it has to work consistently because in the multiplayer you don't control how the all the potential variables that are there. Whereas in a single player context, you can repeat exactly where the camera will look, exactly where it'll be, exactly what the avenues of capabilities are in that. So while it is more work, it's different work and it's possible. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's a situation of it just won't look right. That's fine. I just wish they would give it a try and give us an attempt at it. I would love to see it.
I would rather they attempt at making a ground up third person thing with that in mind instead of adding it to what we got, because the game itself is designed around that first person view, and multiplayer, again, because it's an arena, you can do that. Because like even if we take, and I've seen people say this, well, Starfield lets you go back and forth between first and third person. The animations
it's built that way. The engines are built. The engine fundamentally has that available.
As cinematic as Cyberpunk, which is first person but very cinematic in the camera work. And then
and pull back and then push back in.
Not as cinematic as The Witcher or a Last of Us or whatever. So I do feel like you are sacrificing a little bit by having by serving both modes, and it just
Mm.
feels a little bit more robotic when you move around that way. When you have that ability. So when I think of a third person game, I think of very interesting camera work, and when I think of a solely first person game, there's more you can do to immerse the player, and going back and forth is just, in my opinion, serving too many masters. Pick a lane and then go with it. It works for Starfield, but again, I don't want Halo to feel like Starfield.
Hey man, I wouldn't know if it works for Starfield or not. I can't play the damn game. But okay, let me close this poll real quick, which says Horizon Online game. What are your thoughts? Are you down? Hell no, or no knack, please. No more knack, please. So 22% of our audience, 22% of the voters say they are down. Whereas 54%, which I guess I'll add the 54 and the no knack please together because they're basically the same. The 54% plus 25% say either hell no or no knack please. So AKA, again, I'm a minority in it. I don't think most people want this game. And that's why I call it the knack of the PS5, because it seems like it's being shoved down people's throats, even though by and large the audience isn't too excited about it. But heading back to the Halo-ness of it all, it's interesting that this came about because it falls right in line with another article that was released, which is that Xbox is teasing plans for their 25th anniversary plans for Halo in 2026. Right? Obviously, the original Xbox will turn 25 in 2026, and we've already, it's rumor and speculation that there's a Halo 7 in the works. There's a 7th Halo in the works. I will tell you that I have heard that there's a Halo 7 in the works. Absolutely. Obviously, the rumor and speculation is that it will be an Unreal Engine game, right? So I thread this needle with the last story we're talking about. I ask you, is this them testing their waters on a third-person view because that next Halo will also be a third-person view? What do you think?
Will that next Halo be in the Slipspace engine?
It's rumor and speculation now, but there's strong indications that it will be Unreal Engine 5.
Then why do they need to test in the Slipspace engine third person?
Well, because the process and the Slipspace engine, as I understand it, is it's the Blam engine, which is the original Bungie engine, but with Unreal Engine 5 WYSIWYG front end elements bolted on. So maybe this is them testing the waters to see how the gameplay aspects would work before they go full bore in that direction.
I mean, I don't know. I think a third person Halo should be, again, I'm all for it, but I think it should be a spin-off rather than a mainline thing. Now, if you told me something like, well, and I don't even know how I feel about this, but like the closest I would accept to I'm talking about personally, I'm not talking about everybody else. Everybody's mileage is going to vary. But for me, maybe if you said, hey, we're going to reimagine Combat Evolved in third person. And even that would be weird, because if you're going to reimagine it, give me today's graphics with that game. I still think I would want that in first person. I think it has to be a spin-off. It has to be an ODST or a Spartan Lock story, something that is not a mainline Halo game in third person.
Wow.
That
Big Mad Mo's out here dropping bows here. He's
you need to retire that comment. Chief don't need to go nowhere. But I think
damn. All right.
I think for me, the world of Halo is bigger than Master Chief, or the universe is bigger than Master Chief, and they've fallen into a little bit of the Skywalker problem where
I said the same thing yesterday.
Everything has to revolve around
that. That's
that
right,
being said, you can still tell Chief stories, and I think those things should be first person. Because what I don't want to happen to Halo is them trying to chase the larger audience like Final Fantasy did with 16, where they made a good game. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy 16 and I beat it, but it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. It feels like Final May Cry, right? And so you don't want that or I don't want that to happen to Halo. right? And you do that.
But it's a
by
good
not
game.
making
If
the
it's a
main
good
line-
game, what does it matter if it feels like the original or not?
Again, it's getting away from what Halo is. That's a whole different genre, right? If we're talking about moving to third person. And so I'm here for it, but let's not say Halo's a third person game now. Let's say this offshoot of Halo is third person, and maybe that will become bigger than the main one. But Halo itself, I think, should continue to be a first person thing, at least in terms of the campaign or what Master Chief's doing.
I disagree with Big Mad Mo to retire the Chief, but I do agree that, like this Halo 7, for example, I don't want it to center around Master Chief, and I doubt they'll call it Halo 7. I doubt they'll call it Halo 7. It'll be called something
Halo
else,
Infinite is not called Halo 6, right?
Exactly. But I don't like. It would be good to not put him to bed or put him to rest, but to open the world up, like you're saying,
Live
right?
Supremacy has it right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Make a third person.
Yeah, exactly. You know, yeah. But we shall see. I am excited for the fact that they have not let the IP die, because I figured it was. I thought personally that it was a real travesty that they had to like mothball it in favor of only the multiplayer aspects, and just the single player is still lying dormant, and they could have told more stories in that world. I still think it's really unfortunate.
I mean, according to Jez, he has heard that the game has been profitable, which is good, because we all heard that it had.
Yeah. That's also been known that it's been profitable. The microtransactions have by and large done the job.
Yeah, and again, I just think you go in one direction or the other if you want a focused product, and I think if you go back and forth, that takes away the focus from what they need to do, which is. And so that's a lot of what my thinking is designed around. Like, make it like if you're gonna go third person, go third person. Don't do the back and forth thing in a campaign. It works in multiplayer, but don't do it there. And I think they should do both.
Lionel from the Thundercats, I suspect, with a $2 super chat, says they added the third person for the incoming PS5 port. You're not the first to say this, sir. I've heard this all over them streets. We shall see. I'll just put it that way. We shall see. Hey, I wouldn't put it past them these days. You know, that whole idea has permeated the entire environment that your games are no longer exclusives. So we shall see. I don't know. We shall see. But yeah.
Now here's the question. Here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
How long till they patch in a full third-person mode to Indiana Jones?
See, but that how
and
can
is
that
it in time for the PS5 launch?
How can that be? How can the Halo one not be doable, but the super cinematic, where framing is so important in Indiana Jones? How can they make that work? Right? It wasn't built that way. And if your argument is that Halo wasn't built that way, and specifically in the campaign, that would not make it that would betray its cinematics, then I would throw then I would throw that exact same thing at Indiana Jones, because they built that game. Unless they showed you from jump that it was third person capable as well, everything they've shown, everything looks like they built that game in with the idea of that first person hand to hand and the whip and the
camera does pull
pow.
back, like in Halo.
So if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. I'm showing my age.
Well,
if it's good for Halo, then it's good for and vice versa. So you can't tell me, they can't do that in a campaign, but in indie they can do that.
But here's my point. You fell into my trap, sir.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you don't believe it'll work in Indiana Jones because of the way the campaign is designed, and just pulling back the camera is not really going to work for what they set up.
But that's not my argument. My argument isn't that just pulling back. What my argument is, yes, it will take more work. Yes, there are different avenues there are different problems to solve in order to make that feel good and look good. But I think it's worth it. That's my argument. Right. So I'm not saying it's not possible for indie to do that. I'm saying the same problems that you're mentioning in Halo would also be viable issues to resolve in indie. And I say do them both. I say it's good.
Yeah, I say it's not that simple, and you're changing the entire dynamic of the
I
game.
didn't say simple.
And
I didn't say it was simple.
No. And I'm saying it's not worth it. I'm saying build a whole new game. And so, Fuzzy Tomato says third person indie already exists. It's called Uncharted and Tomb Raider. Don't need to make another one here. And now let me, to that point, how different of a game moment to moment is Uncharted to what we've seen from indie? Right? Completely different. You'd have to rework the entire game to make it work.
But that doesn't automatically mean it's the camera angle is not the reason of its difference. They have specific, and I know this for sure. They spoke about it when I saw it behind closed doors in Germany. They have specifically worked on the identity of this game so that it cannot be misconstrued for its competitors, right? So while I agree with you that the camera angle does lend to the difference, I wouldn't say that's the only reason why it's different. They have worked, like, that's the reason why the combat is the way it is. That's the reason why the punches are the way it is. They literally really leaned hard on the Hollywood aspects to have that whiz bang pow, almost Batman, what's his name? Oh my God, the man's name escaping me now. Old Batman TV show from the 80s and 70s. Adam West, almost Adam West Batman, like, where they're emphasizing the emphasis of the punches and the whip, because they want to breed that difference between the project, between what they know everyone will be comparing it against, right? So I hear you. I don't get me wrong. I know that the camera angle is another way that is expressed, but I'm not. What I'm trying to get across is I don't think it's impossible to move that camera back, do the work that's necessary to still keep it feeling fresh and different from its preliminaries.
I'm saying the amount of work it would take would be tantamount to building a whole new game. So you should just build a whole new game instead of taking the same campaign and trying to change how the whole game was designed. It's a completely different way that you design first-person shooters than you design third-person games. And
absolutely, I won't deny that. I won't deny that. I'm just saying that it is, and less so in the indie case. Frankly, I don't care with the indie. I actually like that it's first person. Keep it at first person. That's fine. But I'm just saying the juice, to me, the juice is worth the squeeze there, as you like to point out. Like, to me, because I would love to see. I would love to see that, like, specifically Halo Infinite and how it would play in that way. Right. The only thing I can think of right now, which would be a little odd, and they might even solve that problem in the multiplayer, which is how you aim the grapple shot, right? Because you look at it, because you're looking at your hands, you look at your area and you aim the grapple shot and you shoot it. When you're in third person, you're looking at his back and not your hands. So how do you make that precise aim in game in order to make it not a second slow down, right, while you're doing it? So there are concerns. I'm not saying there aren't. I just think it's, first off, I think this is really cool and interesting that they've done it. And I hope they continue down the path of experimentation, because that's what this is, experimentation, right? I hope they continue down that path of experimentation. But okay, let us get to the story at hand, because we are at 2 hours. And you know what? Damn it, we're probably gonna end this one at a good time this week. Look at me. And now, of course, the minute I say that, now a bunch of people are going to be in the chat, send me a link, and then we're going to be here for 4 hours. But no, needless to say, let us talk about what basically the reason why I called this show The End of an Era, which is, it looks like we're watching the end of Ubisoft as we know it. So it looks like. So it appears, right? Now, for those who aren't aware, their stock fell like a stone. They lost 54% of their value in the recent year, right? and more because of the failings of Star Wars Outlaws, which you guys have heard me talk about. I thought the game was from a world building perspective, that game is amazing, like amazing. It smells, speaks, looks to like all of it has that Star Wars air about it that you want. But the moment-to-moment gameplay is bad 360. You know, not good 360 like Space Marines 2. Bad 360 like almost immature in its execution. Right? No dynamism. Very much a sign of its times, and its times is not 2024, right? So clearly, I think last report said that it sold about 1 million copies for as long as it's been out, which, you know, if you remember the Disney license cost, that is barely peanuts on the dollar for breaking even for developing a project of this scale. So 1 million copies is definitely a failure, and obviously there's that, and now of course they've delayed Shadows, and it looks like obviously Tencent owns 40%. Not 40. Let me find exactly what the percentage is. They owned 9.2% of voting shares, and then Guimont owns 20%. 20.5% of shares. If I'm not mistaken, they've now Tencent has now like upped the ante and owns between the amount that Tencent owns in the Guimont's company, as well as the amount that Tencent owns within of Ubisoft themselves. They now have almost a controlling share, right? The Guimont family own a piece, but Tencent owns a piece of the Guimont family company, and also a piece of Ubisoft proper. And when you combine the part they own in Ubisoft as well as the Guimont's company, that's more of a controlling stake than what Guimont and their family themselves own. So rumor and speculation. Go ahead.
Basically, for if that put anyone to sleep, it's just basically the plot of Succession. But go ahead.
Well, but what if our audience hasn't seen Succession? Now they don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Ubisoft is Waystar Code.
Needless to say, it looks like those who have the controlling share are now insisting that a potential sale, or looking for a potential sale, be put on offer, right? And obviously, everyone knows, well, the worst kept secret, if we're talking Tencent or any other Chinese company, that usually tends to be shadow backed by the Chinese government, right? So it looks like Tencent is looking to diversify and potentially either buy out the whole thing, or they're looking to stabilize. That's what the article says. They're looking to stabilize. They're looking to either bring the company private, or stabilize, or sell off, right? But the way the winds of change are blowing here it's looking that no matter what decision gets made ultimately, that Ubisoft as we know it, ubiquitous software as we know it, will not be what we remember once this is all said and done. Mr. Everborn Saga, what are your thoughts?
I mean, there's a few angles to this, right? So one is, you know, if you remember, Ubisoft was the purchaser of the cloud rights to Activision games.
Absolutely. Yep.
And, you know, in order for Microsoft to get their acquisition done, they had to spin off the cloud rights for some number of years. I think it's 10, 15 years or whatever.
15.
And so the question is, once they get sold, if they get sold, what happens to those rights? And if the regulators around the world, looking at you, CMA, if the big concern was Microsoft as a publisher would have too much power if they own the cloud rights to ABK games, is the answer to give that to the cloud rights to the largest publisher in the world? So the question is, do regulators around the world even allow such a thing to happen? And we can think Ubisoft is small, but they employ tens of thousands of people all across the world, primarily in Europe. So I wonder if Margaret Vestager or whoever is running the EU Commission, it would even allow such an acquisition, because it is going to cost many jobs. And listen, nobody wants to see that, right? But do we think that they're going to get acquired because of the state that they are in, and whoever picks them up is going to keep most of the employees there? And even if they don't get acquired, will they be able to stay afloat without reducing headcount?
Mhm.
So that, like, they're, and I don't want to talk this into existence, but there seems to be a bloodbath coming. Now, I want to ask a hypothetical question. What do you think would have been the outcome if, in an alternate timeline, instead of ABK, Xbox went after Ubisoft? Where do you think the gaming landscape would be in that world? Because first of all,
the similarities,
and for anyone thinking this, it would be impossible for Microsoft to acquire Ubisoft, because literally
right now you
there's
can't
an
do
agreement with. Even if they wanted to, though, right now they couldn't, because there's an agreement with the CMA that they cannot acquire any stake in Ubisoft for the next decade, while Ubisoft owns the cloud rights. So get that out of your mind. That is not what we're advocating here. I'm just saying, in a world where
those
they didn't get ABK,
those in the chat saying that Tencent can also not buy Ubisoft outright. That is true. That is true in the publicly traded company sense. If they are able, because they own a controlling stake, combining what they own, if they're able to bring Ubisoft private, then they can own that, because it's a different conversation when you're talking about a private company versus a publicly traded company. They are not allowed to buy more shares than they have of the publicly traded company.
Yeah, well, not exactly, right? Those are bylaws in the company itself. So it's not like an SEC thing. It is just the way that company's set up. They're not allowing anyone to buy any more shares. So that's something they'd have to agree with all the shareholders. But if they take the company private,
it changes the whole dynamic.
Yes. Yeah. Now, and remember, that only happened because Vivendi tried to do like a hostile takeover. So
exactly.
The board put that rule in place. But the board could just as easily say, hey, the ship is sinking. We need to break glass and get rid of that rule.
Bring in Caesar.
Right. But
and by the way, real quick, I looked this up, and I just want to add this to the conversation, which is just because if let's say, hypothetical world, Tencent now acquires Ubisoft, that doesn't automatically mean they get the Microsoft cloud rights. It depends on how the original agreement was put together, and most likely it would require Microsoft and Tencent, Microsoft and Ubisoft / Tencent to now renegotiate to the point where Microsoft could sell it to someone else. Right? They can't own it, but if there is enough verbiage in the contract, they could then resell it to somebody else versus keeping it.
What world? And I don't. This would be horribly ironic if Ubisoft gets acquired, regulators don't allow Tencent to buy the cloud rights, so Sony steps in to buy the ABK cloud rights.
That would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
It would be devilishly hilarious.
It'd be diabolical.
Like
Jim and his dirty T-shirt would be somewhere going like this. He'd be going like something. He'd wake up. He'd start. Birds would be chirping. He wouldn't know why he was so happy, but he'd just be happy.
Now, Karate Laundromat says he thinks the cloud rights are only in Europe. I don't think that's the case. I think it is.
No, it's worldwide. It's worldwide. Yeah. It's
now, what it doesn't cover is the previous agreements. So Ubisoft can't control that NVIDIA and the other few cloud providers that they already signed on
So
with.
Ubi owns the cloud rights worldwide. So even in China, they would be Ubi manages and controls those cloud rights.
Right, but again, that doesn't affect the deals that were previously signed, right? So I don't think Nvidia has to deal with Ubisoft when they put their stuff in GeForce Now.
No.
And then there were a few other like independent cloud providers. I can't think of their name.
Boosteroid and
those guys. They don't have to deal with Ubisoft, but Microsoft and anyone else does. It's such a weird thing just for them to say they got to win, but this is where we are, and it makes
what you do to get a win.
Now back, well, not to get a win, but to because they wouldn't admit that they were wrong. Now. The other thing is, I think that Tencent really takes advantage here, right? I don't know that in the situation that they are in, the Guillemot family has a lot of control here, right?
This is the problem,
so I think
right?
Tencent
Since they've sold
pennies on the dollar, then makes the hard cuts, and
that's the weird part about it, right? Tencent doesn't own the controlling stake in Ubi, right? The controlling stake is still, not controlling, but in the Guillemot family still has a controlling stake, but the controlling stake that they have in Ubisoft is owned through a company that they own, and then Tencent also owns a piece of that company as well. So the combination of those two makes them have a bigger piece of the pie than the Guillemot family does, right? So that means Tencent gets to kind of dictate terms a little bit here in how the company will move forward.
Now, another thing is, because this happens a lot, like there's a lot of kind of fear mongering around Tencent in our community. So Dorian Gray says Tencent is cooler than you think. Now, I'm going to ask everybody in the chat this question, and you as well. A lot of people are worried about Tencent, and every time I ask why, what exactly have they done that is worse than what everyone on the West is doing, I don't really get clear answers.
Okay.
So my question is, why is everyone so worried about Tencent? Is it just because of where they're based?
I think some people have, many people have a problem with where they're based, right? Many people have a problem, not just with where they're based, but the fact that
that's, it's like a yellow scare, right? We don't.
Well, no. It's not just about where they're based, yellow scare unnecessarily. Like it is well known that all the companies that come from that region are basically have a thumb on the scale from the government. Right, and they have certain rules and mandates that they want to implement, and as such, the company, have no choice in the matter. Like, for example, there's also thoughts that when it came to Assassin's Creed Shadows, that the Chinese government found some fault in some of the iconography they used in the game, and as such, they've banned the game in China. Right. If you now own a controlling stake in a company that then publishes that game, you get to have that removed because you make those determinations. Similarly, Epic Games, right, had this public drama where there was a position that was being taken by a contestant from an Epic Games event, and they had to stand with China because that's where their bread is buttered. Tencent is funding some of that, right? And that a lot of people's worry is that the moves that you as a company make are no longer your own. You become a puppet of the will of that. But
let me ask you a question. Don't a lot of people get upset about things that Western developers are doing because of things that they believe in?
Well, but that's different because you can't.
Right, people are complaining about Mary Jane's chin.
And
right?
Don't get me wrong, no. But here's the big difference. Here's the big difference. People are complaining about Mary Jane's chin, but they're in no way saying that the Biden administration are forcing them to use Jay Leno's chin. right? What they're saying is, in the case of Tencent, when you have a problem with that, it's not because they're making bad moves or because they just don't see it or because they're out of touch. It's because a dark hand is forcing them to do what they want.
Dark hand at the top of the studio or the publisher themselves that is making the devs do what they do. And again, frankly, I want to be very clear, though. I want to be very clear. We are just having a conversation.
Of course.
I'm just asking that we can vocalize why.
Sure, no, absolutely. And I agree with you.
I'm like
it is useful.
Side, we're just playing devil's
advocate. You're just trying to figure it out. Yeah. So for me, it's not even about the whole Chinese backed stuff, right? Tencent historically has not made games that I've thought was worth playing, and maybe that's a reductive way of saying it. They specifically focus on a side of the gaming genre, the gaming environment that I myself I'm not a huge fan of, right? They push more on the microtransaction stuff. They push everything becomes a games as a service. Things like that just don't sit well with me. I like the beginning, middle, and end games. I like the creative endeavors that then spark a lot of monetary value because people like it. And and for me, historically, most of Tencent's games that I have seen start with that microtransaction and microtransaction and games as a service mindset, and then move on from there. And that to me will make a game like Assassin's Creed even worse. Will bring out the worst in games like Assassin's Creed rather than the better, right? That's where I have a problem.
Already really like
But see, this is the problem. This is the problem. I like Assassin's Creed. I've loved Assassin's Creed from the origins of it. And I like Origins. I even like the open world aspects of it. They've gotten closer and closer and closer to the edge of acceptability when it came to Valhalla. If it was a 10-cent joint, it would be all in on microtransactions. It'd be pay to win. It'd be, and today it's not that. It's on the edge of that. And people complain a lot when it's on the edge of that, right? They add a XP boost that makes your life so much easier because you buy the extra $10 XP boost in Odyssey. A lot of tea was spilt because they did that, right? If it was a 10-cent joint, they'd be unabashedly all that, right? It would be all about that in order for you to sustain, right? And that at least is the prevailing sentiment on it. We reserve the right for Tencent to surprise people, right? I'm excited to see what they do. I think it's Tencent that's finalizing the Marvel Rivals. I think it's Tencent that's doing that. But I reserve the right to show me a game that doesn't do that then excites me, that makes me go, hey, this is actually pretty cool. Right now, right? Beyond gaming, obviously we've discussed the idea that the government has their hands in all those pies. That concerns people. And the other concerns, specifically in my side of the house, is it not corrupts but deludes games into more of a business rather than that creative endeavor.
It is a business, and that's what it has
always been. No, I get that. The needle has always been thread really fine, and it seems that Tencent and companies of their nature always veer on the business side over the creative side, and that tends to bring bad results.
I would argue the same thing could be said about Activision and Call of Duty, right? Like,
sure. And how much smoke do I give them about that? Because it took me 15 hours to find the campaign. I by the time I found the campaign, I didn't even want to play it anymore.
Right. So
I give them that
the
smoke.
Question becomes: is this an issue with gaming or is it an issue with Tencent?
I mean, it's both. So it's not either or.
When we talk about do we actually believe that China is?
I hate when people say that. Stop it, please.
Do we actually believe? No, because when we say
and you say it in air quotes like the place doesn't exist.
No. But listen, if we're saying, oh, the government, that means we're assuming that just because it's coming from China, they are doing something nefarious. And do we believe that they are putting backdoors in their game code to steal your data in ways that Google isn't?
I mean, this is the
actually believe they're hacking into your lives through the video.
That is the funny thing, right? That is the funny thing. They are doing the same things that American companies do, but American companies are doing it the American approved way, and China is doing it the non-American approved way, and that's the reason why people don't like it.
What is the American approved way versus the
the EULA that gives you 50 billion pieces of text, and in the fine print somewhere in the middle, they say you don't own anything. We reserve the rights to use you as a product rather than selling you a product. That is the American approved way, whereas these guys don't do it that way.
Doesn't any other. I don't know. It's just like, again, Yuzu Ichikawa, I hope I didn't butcher your name. He says they are, and so is Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
This is what big tech companies do. They take your data. And again, if everyone's doing it, is it fair for us to single them out? Or are we just singling them out because they're coming from China, right? So
Pixel's coming after you. He says,
no.
Captain for China is nasty work.
No. Let's get this very straight. I am not defending them in any way. I'm asking people who are not cool with them to vocalize why.
Mm-hmm.
And if your answer is you don't like them because it's China, that's fine. But then say that.
So Slow-Mo is in the chat saying there's a difference between taking your data and then manipulating your devices. What do you think of that?
Do we believe they're doing that in their video? Do we believe that Tencent is doing that? And if your answer is yes, that's the answer. And I'm saying let's focus on what the real answer is. And if
and Lucius is saying that's what he's saying.
So
yes.
then again, let's say that.
And then of course Dorian comes back with xenophobia.
Right?
So there you go.
So I am only a fan of saying what we mean and saying let's say the quiet part out loud. Right? So if your answer is they're associated to the Chinese government and the Chinese government is bad because, then let's say why they're bad and say
because they have nefarious purposes with your data.
But what is the nefarious purpose that Google and Microsoft already do it that you're okay with?
Well, but let's be clear, nobody's okay with it. People just have
we're calling out one and not the other, so let's say why. That's all I'm asking, and that's not me defending them, right? I don't care about them. I'm just saying I like it.
Now you feel the need to defend yourself and talk about how you're not defending them. This is how I feel most of the time. I'm explaining what's going on, but most people go, stop defending them.
The difference is I'm not telling people they're crying, and I'm not telling people they're emotional. I'm just asking people questions. And if we can't ask
people in the
question, then
people in the chat. Let's ask the question. People in the chat. Please present us your case for why you think this is a bad or a good thing. Let's get a bead from our community about it, right? How do you all feel about the situation? Do you think, hey, it's much ado about nothing, or do you actually think that China has a hand in Tencent, and as such, anything Tencent touches is corrupted, right? Is that what you think? What are your thoughts on it? And I'm putting a QA in the chat real quick. So, I want to know genuinely what other people think. But yes, this is why I have a feeling people are very concerned about this, because, historically that has always been the criticism of them. And let's be to your point, let's be honest about it. In recent years, Tencent themselves have not shown themselves to be doing directly Chinese government work like they have been in that case where they did that with Epic Games and that whole situation. Because there was a time when that blew up on Front Street and people made a big deal about it, but that was some time ago, right? So as of right now, it's not the same. right? But those concerns are still there because no one has seen any evidence to suggest that Tencent now moves independently of the government, right? So that's what I think. What do you think?
Let's assume that they are. What are they doing with the government that we don't like? And all I'm asking is because I like to think we're a thinking crowd here, that we can actually articulate what our issues are. Now, Slow-Mo says, Slow-Mo believes they're taking our data in nefarious ways. And my only question to that is, what are they doing that Western big tech companies aren't already doing? And if they're doing the same, then why don't we have the same energy for Google or Microsoft? Or
BT Maverick brings up a very interesting point. He says, let's not forget about China's censorship.
But okay, we can talk about China's censorship, but look at all the people that complained about the character designs in Concord and how you can't have a sexy woman in a Western game anymore.
See now again, I'm not saying that I'm not saying you're doing this, but your retorts all sound like defense.
I'm just saying.
You know what I mean? Like, he says censorship, you say, well, what about them? They're doing the same thing. That is defense. That sounds like defense. I'm just saying.
Okay, we can call it what we want. I just think that if we believe things strongly, we should be able to debate them. And this is just me being devil's advocate. I can say what I can do if people would prefer. I could say, yes, Queen, you're right. Right? I could do that, but I don't think that's interesting. I think we should just try to
you calling other people Queen. That might be interesting.
You know what I mean? No baby oil. But the point is,
Lucius, real quick, he says, because when Google and Microsoft get your data, it's to maximize profits. When the Chinese government do, it's to compromise Americans in power.
Compromise
Americans in power. What do you think of that?
Okay. What do you mean compromise Americans in power?
Lucius, please be a bit more explanatory in your reasoning there. And let's be clear, the reason why we're leaning on our chats and leaning on some of these folks, some of these people work in areas where they would have a lot more knowledge in this arena than we would as civilians, as it were. So, it's good to get a thought process from the community at large and see where the pain points and the feelings come from. I just think it's important
to talk about these things, right? Because there's certain accepted truth that people just accept, and then they don't talk about it. And we can talk about it and come to an agreement that this is the reason we all accept this. But all I am saying is I do not really hear a lot of tangible reasons.
So Karate Laundromat says, what about censorship of the Japanese games in the 90s? Splatterhouse was removed crosses. Stuff like that.
Removed cross? What do you mean? Who censored Japanese?
They removed crosses from Splatterhouse in the Chinese versions of the game, because they didn't want those represented in their game. And let's be clear here.
Okay,
let's not speak to the fact. Let's be clear that a lot of games and movies in the Chinese region get censored because of certain requirements that they deem are not met, or certain imagery that they don't want to be shown to their public, right? Which is fair game because they're allowed to do that in their country, but that may the concern that may then delude our game, those who don't have that censorship. The fear is, if that company has a finger on the scale making those mandates, then everyone has to adhere to the same requirement.
All I know is that we just got done making fun of what we called incels who were complaining about censorship in Stellar Blade. And now we're waving the censorship red flag, and I just find that interesting.
So Lucius says if the Chinese government has a backdoor in these companies, which we know is true, then they can influence the large entertainment medium on the planet, the largest entertainment medium on the planet.
So
And
again,
I guess it's their influence that's the problem.
This is the consensus. And
No.
chat, tell me if this is what we agree with. We believe that Tencent funded organizations are they build backdoors into their software to nefariously take your data and use it to manipulate the government. That is what we are saying. And if that's the answer, that's the answer. I'm not placing judgment on the answer.
This isn't censorship like removing naked women. This is the sort of censorship that sends people to concentration camps, says Lucius.
And Tencent is doing that.
Well, that's a reductive way of saying
Tencent,
that. Hold on. No, I get that, but I guess what the needle that's being thread here is any company that has a backdoor that the government uses has the potential to be manipulated in this way, and their ultimate goal, like the Chinese government literally has concentration camps. We know this, right? So seemingly, if they are influencing your company, then you are, on that in that pyramid scheme, if you will. That is what's being expressed here.
They're complicit, is what we're saying.
They're complicit. Yes,
No, I don't see. This is what people keep misunderstanding, right? And I feel like this is why we get into echo chambers, because we can't even have conversations without people think you're capping for something or whatever. I do not give one care about Tencent. I don't play Tencent games. I don't go waving a Tencent flag.
You just want to know why people are so concerned about it. I get it.
About a thing.
Yeah.
And if you hear me pushing back, it's not because that's what I believe. I'm just saying, let's adjudicate the thing and have the conversation about it.
Sure.
And we should be able to do that without saying this is coming from somewhere of defending them or capping for them or doing whatever else. I love
you being in my position.
Very different. Very different.
Yeah, it's very different. Yeah.
You're very condescending.
Sure. And you don't sound condescending right now? Yes, you do. But okay, continue.
Tell me if I sound condescending, if I'm just asking.
Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, I'm just asking questions.
So the point is, this is what I'm trying to get to. People believe that when Tencent, because of their connection to the government in the country that they operate in, they are actively building illegal backdoors that are used for geopolitical politics to affect the oligarchy that is in America, to put China in a higher position on the world stage. That is what people are saying when they don't like Tencent. And I am asking if everyone believes that, or is that just a Slow-Mo and Lucius thing? Is that the general consensus when people say they don't like Tencent?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of I think it's the perception, like we were just discussing. I think it's the perception of the games being pushed more in a microtransaction-y, maximize profits direction, as well as that fear of what nefarious deeds will be done that aren't being made clear to you.
Okay.
Right. And Lucius says this is an active thing that many Chinese large companies do.
Okay. So that's the, I mean, I don't think that's the consensus, because I'm seeing different people say different things, but exactly. Yeah. So it's a complicated issue. I will freely admit that I too have always had those thoughts, and remember, and another cheap plug, please join our Discord. These are the conversations we have on the Discord, where we'll sit there and poke and prod an issue and talk about why it is that is the prevailing knowledge, right? The prevailing sentiment, right? Let's adjudicate that. Let's find out why. Let's dig through the details to see, is it really that way, or is that just a perception, right? The issue is complex because it delves into some places that you can't be clear about, right?
you just can't be clear about it, because sometimes some of the information that is being used to say, hey, we're using this to protect you, is also being kept secret, and it's behind closed doors. So you can never really have a full-fledged conversation about it in that way, right?
So I guess part of the reason I asked this question is like, at the heart of the matter is when Meta takes your data and uses it to sort of influence elections and sells it to the highest bidder and follows you when you are not on their site, and all those things that we know that these big tech companies do, right? When Google does the same thing, when you realize how much they're tracking you, even when you don't think you're giving them your information, like, are we saying that while we don't like it, it's better if that is happening from an American company?
Yeah, so it seems that seems to be the prevailing knowledge, and I've pushed this button that you're pushing right here as well, right? Whereas America says so good, and no one else is to be believed, but America says so good. I've had that back and forth a bit in the Discord.
Like, these tech companies are literally the size of countries. So it's just, I think it's an interesting conversation to have, however you feel about it.
And honestly, I think this opens the door to, and we may not find common, we may not get to a common place with it here specifically today, but I think this begs like another show where we bring more knowledgeable voices into the room, where those who have more tangible either data or more full-fledged opinion, whether that be Lucius and Slomo or whoever. Heck, Dorian, sir, I know you live in those regions. If you want to have a conversation, I would love to have a conversation.
Listen,
with dissenting sides of the house.
Here's another thing to think about, right? We say that we don't like what is a totalitarian government having any say in these things, right? So if they have a piece of the company, they can force the company to put a backdoor in their software. They can take that data and they can do bad things with it, right? I think that's what we're saying. But on the flip side, we and the same folks that are saying this about Tencent and their motherland, they will tell you that it is the big corporate donors and big corporations that control the government here, right?
So let me share this. So this was sent to me by the great Fun Speculation. Shout out to you, good sir. I did a bit of digging and I found exactly the same thing. And this is some of the articles that he sent me. And again, this is what we're looking for, right? This is what you're looking for. You're looking for tangible situations that you can point to say, hey, this is why people have concerns. And this Vision Times article basically spells out how the Chinese government controls Tencent, and Tencent's considered the 7th largest company in the world. And they and obviously I haven't had the chance to fully digest this, but like they go through a myriad of ways that the Chinese government like censors the content that they put out and has a hand in how Tencent is allowed to or not allowed to move, right? So this may be some of the stuff that you're looking for. I have a feeling that the basis of the argument is about people want to feel good about the fact that if decisions are being made, it's within it's in the purview of the decision makers, which is the company that you seemingly do business with, right? Whether that be Microsoft, PlayStation, EA, whatever. But the idea that say Ubisoft put Jay Leno's chin on a protagonist because some government hand forced them to do that to dumb down the features of a person or whatever, That's the stuff that I think is beyond the pale for some. That's what pushes people to the, oh, hell no. It's one thing if somebody just made a dumb decision, we'll laugh at that. Oh yeah, it was a dumb decision. I am not buying it, and they move on. But if the idea is the reason why that is because there's a mandate from a higher power saying that girls are no longer allowed to look attractive in games, that is where people pick up the pitchforks. And I think that's what's driving some of this. It's the idea of that silent big hand making moves that you have no control. Right? Because in the world,
there's a lot of that going around, and it isn't just
real quick.
From
in the world where Google, Microsoft, or any of these third parties make bad decisions, the market dictates, right? That the game won't sell. Concord becomes a bad look, and people move on. But the fear, I suspect, is that if it is from on high, it doesn't matter how the content is received. On high has mandated that this be done, so this will continue to be done, and that's what people, I think, have a problem with.
Wait a minute. Just one thing. Okay. Karate Laundromat says the heads of Meta, Microsoft, and Apple all sat in front of Congress, but so did the head of TikTok.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Again, everything that Slow-Mo and Lucius are saying may absolutely be right. I am not here to judge that so much as I think these are important conversations to have.
I agree. Yeah. And Lucius, and I was actually going to say that, and that's because TikTok has an American arm. And let's be clear, even if they sit in front of those governments and they talk, the seemingly nefarious part of that is it's not above board. The hand that controls is not an official hand. They are not official stakeholders, right? If you read this article, you'll notice that some of the members of the board at Tencent are CCP members, right? Like that is the seeming fear there. That it's not like, oh, they'll sit in front of you. It's just like, and I don't want to get too far into the political realm. It's just like Russia will have elections, but nobody believes those are real. They'll put on a dog and pony show. I didn't mean that pony in that way, right? They'll put on a show, but we all know in the background all that was just a show. That is the fear here, that whether TikTok sits in front of the government, sits in front of various governments answering questions or whatever, that since Tencent has a silent arm controlling them, it's just a show and they're still getting their talking points from them. That's seemingly the concern in there. Right?
Okay, so I guess ultimately, just to give my actual opinion on something, I don't think Ubisoft will be any better or worse if Amazon were to acquire them versus Tencent. I think it's all just as bad, in my opinion. And I think everybody's stealing your data. And the other thing is, if these backdoors exist, right? Will we have another Huawei situation?
This is the problem, right? This is the fear.
But you have been on record many times saying the Huawei thing was stupid.
Yes, and when
so
hold on.
Let me be clear. Another Huawei situation.
Let me be clear. When I bring up the Huawei situation, right, and again, I always will do this, the cheap plugs. When I bring up the Huawei situation, it's because I'm using the data that I am privy to, which we are all privy to, which is basically trust me, bro. And specifically when that data was provided, those bros that said trust me, I was like, hell no, I don't trust y'all. I don't trust y'all as far as I can throw y'all, right? But since that conversation I've had, and like I said, we've had these conversations in the Discord, those folks that are closer, that get more details than I would get, right? And those people who, by and large, I have no reason not to trust and no reason not to believe, are saying there was more there, even though that was not disseminated to you in a way that you could understand it. But there was definitely more there. Right?
So,
and that's me learning when those conversations came up.
So
Because
you
to me,
agree.
when you provide me that information and you just give me trust me, bro, then I have to look at the person who's saying trust me, bro. And at the time when that information was presented, that was the person I could not trust, like with anything. You know what I mean? So that made me think that whole situation was absolute BS. But since that time, talking with additional individuals, right, it's been made clear that yes, we can't share what was there, but now the new trust me, bro, is newer bros that I do trust. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you see the
But it
problem
always
with that,
ends up.
right?
I know. This is the problem. It always ends up in trust me, bro. I know.
Now, so then you're saying that now you agree that Huawei should have gotten.
I don't agree. All I'm saying is, I looked at it with a very big side eye at jump, right? And I've had subsequent conversations with trusted individuals which and now with their purview also added to my context in my head, I am now more in the okay. I can see how and why that would be disseminated in the way it was. But still, to this very day, my initial thoughts were, if the leadership in place at the time was more reputable, I may be more likely to believe that. But when you say trust me, bro, and I don't trust you, then that's just what it is. I just don't trust you.
But doesn't that mean the people that you do trust could just tell you anything because you trust them?
That's a whole different conversation, sir. That's a whole different conversation. I'm not saying that since the additional conversations I've had that I've turned around on my thoughts on Huawei, but I am saying that I'm starting to understand the complexities with which makes it difficult to be more forthcoming with the data that would then put me at ease. I'm starting to understand that more.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Not really, but kind of. We always say keep the same energy, and
yes.
I think a lot of people, not Slow-Mo and not Lucius, but a lot of people don't want to say out loud that they believe the Chinese government is building backdoors to take your data and do nefarious things with it. And I think that if you believe that, you should say it out loud. Now I also think if you do believe Huawei was doing nefarious things and they were justly kicked out of doing business in the United States, doesn't that also tell you that if Tencent was doing the same thing, they would have been kicked out?
Well, okay,
because we've seen. Wait a minute. Let me just finish that sentence. Because we've seen when the government had its suspicions about TikTok, they said, you're going to have to sell. You're going to have to figure something out. You can't because we don't trust you. So why hasn't the government said that about Tencent yet? Is it just because they're in video games and the government doesn't care about video games?
So specifically with the Tencent, with the Huawei thing, I don't want to crack that nut open because we'll be here for a long time. I'll tell you why I feel the way I feel. We'll discuss that, but I won't discuss that in this context here. I will tell you exactly why that's a different scenario for me in a different setting. But I do hear what you're saying as far as if they were visibly doing something, right? Like and it could be proven, wouldn't something be said about it? But to that, I say there are certain, based on some conversations I've had, there have been certain instances where they see you doing something and they'll let you keep doing it because then you think you got something, but then that way we can kind of keep tabs on you. You know what I'm saying?
And then we're going to get you with the baby oil. I see what you did there. Haha. All right. So,
it's not a straightforward, easy to grok kind of a thing. And I do believe that there is perception versus reality a lot in this conversation. I do agree with you in that, but I feel like we should educate ourselves more in this realm and potentially have more of these conversations, because I agree with you that it is useful to crystallize your thoughts on it.
Every other podcast in this space is going to talk to you about why Xbox shouldn't be going third party, or the PS5 Pro, or whatever else. I think
we want to be above that.
Have
That's right.
more interesting conversations like this than the things
Yes.
and no shade to any of those podcasts, but you've heard it all. You heard it 20
That's right.
times this week with all.
Or you can come here and I can tell you why I still can't play Shattered Space. I'm just saying.
Well, we could do that. So I hope you folks have enjoyed the conversation. I'm just playing a little devil's advocate.
No, it's good. It's good. I appreciate that. It's good. No, it's good. It's good. I do appreciate that because I do agree with you that prevailing knowledge or prevailing wisdom is far less useful than actual wisdom. So yes, I agree with you on that. And of course, the great BT Maverick 707 is here with a $5 super chat, forgive me. And he says, did we ever get any thoughts from you guys with Valve tinkering with ARM capability, Valve ARM compatibility, and what possibilities that could lead to? Not to derail anything. Sir, derail away, because that is a good gaming topic. I will let you
take two things. I just want to address one thing Slow-Mo said, and then I will answer that question because I have thoughts on that actually. So Slow-Mo says there was evidence on Huawei. There currently isn't any evidence on Tencent. And to that I say, if the glove doesn't fit, mustn't you acquit? If you don't have the evidence, aren't we just saying, I got a bad feeling about this and trust me, bro?
The absence of evidence does not equate the absence of illegalities, of the evidence of absence. That's right. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like we're saying there's no evidence right now, but trust me, bro, they're bad. That's effectively what we're saying. Now to the ARM question. What if there's a lot of speculation that Xbox's next handheld or whatever might run on ARM, right? Now, we've also heard Phil say a lot of stuff about multiple stores, this, that, and the third, right?
I see the needle you're threading. Keep going.
If Valve is working on Proton supporting ARM, couldn't that be so that they're a launch partner on this new Xbox that will play Steam games on a potential ARM device?
But Everbone, why would Valve help Microsoft? What's in it for them?
The answer is very simple, my friend. Money. Money is the answer.
What money would they get? Will Microsoft pay Valve? There's no reason for Microsoft to pay Valve.
Microsoft doesn't have to pay Valve. So now think about this. The Steam Deck today, we all consider it a massive success. It is the future of this, that,
but it's a niche within a niche within a niche.
You cannot walk into a Best Buy and buy this thing.
That's right.
There's a whole distribution pipeline that is just not there for the Steam Deck, and they've probably not even sold 10 million. As much as they have in mind share, they do not have in market share. What Xbox could give them is a way, because listen, you can say Xbox is failing, you can say this or that. There are 50 million strong customers that will buy whatever box Xbox puts out. And they put that handheld out. That is a way for Valve to get a handheld device that people will be highly engaged in all the stores, with all the contracts with the Walmarts and the Best Buys and the PC Richards, if that's still around, or wherever else you can buy an Xbox, right? The Targets.
So the quote of how many copies, the quote of how many copies that Steam Decks have sold is multiple millions, quote unquote.
Not that's tens of millions.
Multiple millions.
So again, for Valve, if they could be a primary partner, and this is where people would kind of buy their games, and for Xbox, their first party stuff, because maybe you'll buy all your third party games from Steam.
And by the way, that multiple millions was in 2023 when they said that. So maybe it's sold far more since then.
So their first party stuff will be surfaced right in front of you, right? So maybe it is beneficial for Valve to say, hey, we can be on 20, 30, 50 million devices that are distributed in stores where people can walk up and get them. And that's just bringing our store in front of all those people. And for Microsoft, then they no longer lose access to games. So it'll be a handheld that can get every game.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
is easily accessible to the general populace, because the general populace does know the Xbox brand.
I really do think it's a win-win for both sides of the house. I do. I think it's a win-win for both sides of the house. And I think that Valve and them also know that it's a win-win for both sides of the house, because whether you like it or not,
Hey,
at the end of the day,
there will be no anus.
Hey now. I was just gonna let the chat just sit there. I wasn't gonna give voice to it, but you are free and clear to go do that there, Mr. Everborn Glizzy Saga. Go ahead.
So Dorian Gray says Steam doesn't need consoles, and they don't need the Steam Deck either, and yet they make it. Right?
Yeah.
The name of the game is expanding. But I also do not believe, this is where you and I disagree, Kay. I don't believe in such a scenario, Microsoft would get any cut of the games that people buy from Steam.
I don't believe that either. I don't believe that. I think it's more likely vice versa, that Microsoft could negotiate a deal where Steam gets certain things. I don't think Microsoft gets anything from Steam in that, because in this position, the position of power is with the incumbent. It's with the market leader, which in the PC space is Steam. I think, and even that is soft. I believe that there's enough mutual benefit there that no money has to change hands, and they can both see value in coming together in that way. But if there is money changing hands, there's no world that I see that money will come from Valve. I think that money will come from Microsoft, if any at all.
Yeah, I do. There's one thing I wanted to show you, right?
Okay. And yours will be the last, because then we'll get out of here. We're at 3 hours.
All right. I'm just showing you something with the Ally and
okay,
what I've done.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for it to get going.
Oh, it takes a lot to get going? What's going on?
All right. So, okay. So we've got our Ally here. I hope you guys.
UI. Yeah, we see it.
All right.
A little shiny, but we see it. Yep.
When I press this one, I've got my because this is mapped to the Xbox button, right? And now the other button in the back is mapped to Windows key plus G, which gives me this.
Which gives you the yes.
Right.
Yes. So both are available. Yeah. Same thing in my setup. Yeah.
And so if I can, I'm just using the bumpers to tab through the different you call.
Yep.
Now this is the one launcher, right? And
yeah, I've seen the one launcher. Yeah.
What this allows me to do, I can't see what I'm doing, so bear with me.
No, you're on the one launcher. You're there.
Yeah. So I'm in the one launcher, and this is a third-party thing, and it brings up all my Steam and Xbox
games from almost everywhere. Yes.
Right. There is no like universal launcher from Microsoft, but I think Xbox makes one, and this is how they can live side by side. And maybe Steam has a tab that just comes up just like this, like the one launcher, and now you have access to your Steam games and the Steam store right in one place. Right.
My only problem with what you're showing off, as beautiful as it is that screen is just too goddamn small, bro. That screen is just too goddamn small. You got
we didn't need any of that.
A man screen. Look at that. That's a man screen. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that.
That is how
a man stretching their hands to get that screen.
Right. That's why that new game bar is so like it's a step in the right direction, but I think it gives us a glimpse into the future, because it is extensible by other people, and all Valve has to do, even if Microsoft makes a full gaming mode for Windows, all they have to do is add their widget into it, and now people can buy stuff directly from their store and launch their games directly. Right?
Yeah.
And it can work side by side with Big Picture mode if that's the mode you want to be in, or you can use Microsoft's game launcher experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is
I think it's interesting times.
Stage 1X.
Stage 1X. Yeah, he says y'all got a new subscriber today. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. We do this every Saturday. Myself and the great Everborn Saga. You can catch us also on Monday nights, myself and the great John Wolf, who's in the chat, and we do a bit more handheld talk, a bit more PC talk, but it's all whichever way you play, whichever way the winds blow for you as far as gaming, all are welcome here. We're not trying to make you feel like you should be A versus B or anything like that. To us, it's all about the games and how much we enjoy them. Everborn, I was actually and this is us in the outro section. We're getting out of here, but I'm gonna bring up a topic with you. I want to bring up something real quick with you that I think we should maybe possibly institute. And by the way, last plug, go into our Discord, join our Discord. If you are a member, you have VIP access to our Discord, and in that VIP section, I drop codes pretty frequently. I'm actually going to drop more codes, probably, if not today, but tomorrow. Whenever I get a bunch of codes, I drop some in there. So if you are a member, check the VIP membership chat, member chat. You'll see that I've dropped some codes for various games there. But just in general, even if you're not a member of the channel and you want to be part of Discord, the invite will be in the description when this thing posts. Join our Discord because I've added some channels like topics you would like us to discuss, right? I want the community to be a bit more involved in how the show comes together. If there's a interesting topic that maybe we have not discussed, or something that you want to discuss, something whether that's either in the news or not in the news, anything you think is worth bringing up, worth having a great gaming discussion over, let us know. We'll definitely think it through. From now on, whenever I'm building these shows, I will go into the Discord and see what folks are talking about and see if I can incorporate some of that into it as well. This brings me to my question to you, Everborn, and seeing what you think about it. I want to start a segment either that's driven by our audience or by us, where we get a game $10 or less, right? And these will tend to be, it could be from anywhere, but more often than not, it'll probably come from Steam, because that's where you get more of your crazy deals and whatnot. But $10 or less that no one has played, that we bring to the congregation and talk about. Soldiers being an apt choice for that, right? I bought that game for 59 cents, and the hours and the hours and hours of gameplay and fun that
I still haven't beaten the final boss in that game. I'm right at the end.
Can't beat the ball. They're kicking your butt. That's right. But I guess what I'm saying is this may bring about more cheap, easy to get into gems that folks may just not be aware of. And I think I want to make a segment and start searching out games like that. Games that may be a couple years old, games that maybe have fallen off the radar. Because more and more we're detecting that if a game has fallen off the radar, it may not be because it's not good. Maybe they didn't have enough money for marketing, then you have a soldier situation.
Doesn't quite fit your description, but I've never played Days Gone, and it was on sale for $12 on Steam. Just pick it up.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't even know when I'm going to play it, but it was $12. This is the thing about Steam.
Yeah.
Steam is the only store where people will buy games that they have no
and they'll never play. Yes. Because it's just too much of an undeniable deal. You're just like, oh, come on. The entire Prince of Persia franchise for $8? I'm there. Let's go. Right? So, like I did that last Steam sale. By the way,
unrelated. Yep. Everborn.
Oh, you got Everborn stickers.
Tape. No, these are skipping tape. So when we box these things up, right? Because this is the Everborn packaging, right? We got to tape it up. We're taping it up with the tape. This just came in, so I thought I'd show everybody. But if you back the Kickstarter, you'll be getting this stuff. Everything's very official with what we're doing.
Very nice. Very nice. That is very cool, man. I like that. That's cool. So about real quick, while we're in the outro phase, about Steam, next week is Next Fest. I don't know if you know that. That's when they drop copious amounts of demos on your head and say, try all these, hundreds sometimes. And we will have a special guest next week to join us, who will possibly be discussing his game that is also part of Next Fest, that you'll be able to have a chance to try out for yourself. So this is me teasing next week's show. But Mr. Everborn Saga, sir, before we get out of here, why don't you one last time, with 193 people here on the various platforms that they're in, let the fine people know this final push in your Kickstarter campaign, and hopefully they'll help us get to the stretch goal, sir.
Yeah. So we have a Kickstarter going on. I don't know if you want to put that on the screen, but
I will definitely put that on.
While you do that, I will switch unboxing cam
Mm-hmm.
And we are launching the newest chapter in our saga. This is the 7th release in this saga that we're telling. This is Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2. This is the 3rd time we're on Kickstarter, 3rd time funded in a row. We hit our goal earlier this week, and the book is already done. Everyone will, provided you fill out your shipping form. We are shipping out the same month that the campaign closes, which is this Tuesday. You've got 3 days left. And we have a new book, which would be the 8th chapter in our saga, which is not slated to come out till later next year. But you can get it now, and everyone will get that for free if we hit our stretch goal. And we are about $3,200 away. We've got 3 days left. There are some very interesting tiers that will get us over the top. I'll just highlight the Everborn and the Immortal tier, where you can actually become a character in the saga yourself, and you'll get a cover just like one of these, drawn by the great digital artist Philip Johnson. You'll have your own one-of-one cover if you back the Immortal tier, and you will have your own character if you back the Everborn tier. This is an example of Gamer MD. You all know him from the community.
Mm-hmm.
So he backed the Immortal tier on the Redlands campaign, and this is his character. He will show up and play a major role later on. And so, again, it's one story, 2 timelines, and what is about to be 4 interconnected series, all telling the story from different vantage point. We're completely independently run and funded. And we like to think that our stuff stands right up next to the majors. This is another hardcover that is also launching as a part of this. Some of you have this in paperback, but the hardcover here has bonus content that has not been available before. So we give you a little background on some of the characters that show up here. And there's also a bunch of add-ons from companies like Adidas and Hanes and whatnot. And so you can see some of the apparel that we have on offer. This is just one of the shirts, right? This one's done by Hanes. I don't know if you can see that, but we've also got stuff by Adidas and American Apparel, so you can do these as add-on, and they are the variant covers that I'll share my screen again, and that you can get, and they're only a part of this campaign. So you do not want to miss this. It is the only time those covers will be available. And it's the only chance that people will get to see the Remnant before late 2025 when it launches. So if you could show my screen, I'm just going to show the variant covers, then we'll do an animation, show the animation, and we will get out of here. Other screen. Yeah. All right. So this is the main cover. And this is the first variant cover. Again, there's only going to be 50 of these. When they're gone, they're gone. And they will not be reprinted. And here is the other variant cover. So, and everything that you order from this campaign will come signed. And as I said before, they will be shipped this month. And here, in case you wanted an idea of what you're getting and what the artwork looks like, here's a little animation we put together.
Excellent, 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 sir. This is great.
So we can't do sound because, you know, YouTube is weird.
Oh yeah, they're gonna come for you. They're gonna come for you. You know how they do it. They're worse than the Nintendo ninjas. What you gonna do?
And then I'll show you one last thing because some people have not seen this, and then we can all get out of here. But you see, when I tell you, like, everything is leveled up. You've read Ariel's Adventure Chapter 1.
I have, yeah.
Like, this is this is probably the best work we've done, and we've been building this world for over a decade, but comics wise, we've been doing it since 2019. And yeah, there's 3 days left on the campaign, and then where are we here? So check this out. Can we do audio?
We cannot do audio because you're not sharing audio.
Okay. So we put a whole animation together just to give you guys a glimpse of the future of what we're planning. Can you drop a link to the campaign in the chat? Thank you, sir.
Already done. So this is the I would say the pilot to the potential Netflix show.
Exactly. So we're working on a game right now, 2 games right now, and we have 2 more planned. Each of our series, which is Ariel's Adventure, which is what this campaign is for now, Prince of Arcadia, which are the hardcover books, the Redlands, and what's coming soon, The Remnant. Each of those will have their own game, and Ariel's Adventure and they're all love letters to the 16-bit era of gaming. So Ariel's Adventure is a 2D platformer in the style of Mario and Sonic. The Redlands is a beat 'em up in the style of Turtles in Time, Streets of Rage, and Shredder's Revenge. Prince of Arcadia is a turn-based RPG, top-down, and The Remnant is an action RPG or action adventure like Link to the Past. So, and then each of the series have their own tone and vibe. Prince of Arcadia is a Game of Thrones style story. The Redlands is a heist genre. Ariel's Adventure is a battle series, and The Remnant is an epic sort of revenge tale. So we're putting together this whole connected universe. We're almost there. I cannot wait for you guys to see Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2, and I really can't wait for you guys to see the new series, The Remnant. And don't worry, I know there's a lot of Redlands fans out there. We are already like 5 or 10 pages into the Redlands Chapter 2, so that will also be coming very soon. That's actually going to be the next book that we release, the Redlands Chapter 2, so look out in the first half of 2025 for that. But yeah.
Excellent, sir. Now, of course, we will be keeping an eye on this Kickstarter. We want to make sure you end as fast, as strongly as you started, with a bang. Make sure we get the stretch goals funded. Hopefully we get the stretch goals funded, because that'd be really awesome. But besides that, sir, where can people keep up with your ongoings on the internet this week?
Right now, you're gonna find me on Kickstarter, but when the campaign ends, this is another big thing. We are doing the relaunch of everbornsaga.com on the 8th when the campaign ends. So there's a full relaunch of the site. It's like a 2.0 version of the site, and that's going to be a pretty big deal, and that's going to lead us into Comic-Con. So a lot of things going on with the Everborn series. So Big Bad Mo, see, we're getting favorites already. This is what I like to hear. Big Bad Mo says Ariel's his favorite so far. He's got the Redlands.
There you
go. So you haven't really seen Ariel fight too much yet, but I want to start having the conversation about who do we think is going to win in certain face-offs. I mean, I know the answer to these things.
I can't have that conversation with you, because you wrote the thing. So no, I don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah, but it's good to understand, what you guys think. I want to see those face-off battles. But now what will be cool is Hargeet is going to be, it was also another backer of one of the Everborn or Immortal tiers. So he's going to have his own character. We know Pixel has his own character, and there's other people in the community that have characters. Gamer MD. So do we ever get to a stage where community members have their characters in the
Have their
universe
characters and they
get
want to
battle?
duke it out. That's right. That's right. That's awesome, man.
These are things that could happen.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So again, and we have to limit those slots. I think we only have one immortal tier left because we can't do covers for everybody. And then there are 4 slots of the Everborn tier, which will get your character in a book. The immortal tier is just if you want like your own cover. Just think about it. The slots are limited. The time is limited. No pressure, but now or never.
So, if you have not backed the Everborn Saga Kickstarter, the link for the Everborn Saga Kickstarter is in the chat. It was in the chat, and I will put it in the chat again right now. It is in the chat.
Appreciate you.
Please click on that link. Go and support the man.
And there are no back doors to the Chinese government in the Everborn books. I can guarantee.
And it also offers a PS5 Pro enhancement. Yes, we know all of this. Indeed. As for me, you will catch me Monday night with the man John Wolf talking more PC and tech talk. Talk about handhelds. Talk about a lot of the fun stuff that we do. This Wednesday, I will be back with Double Barrel Gaming on PTG Primetime Gaming on Wednesday night. And then, of course, next week, we will have a special guest. And I'm looking forward to it because the special guest will share with us some stories of how their game was made, their game that I'm actually playing right now that's getting blurred. So I will, a little tease there. You've heard me talk about this game before. I've enjoyed it. I thought the game was really cool. I saw it at Gamescom, and the lead designer, the art designer will be with us to discuss, and we'll have more about that as the week progresses. I'm looking forward to having a conversation. So please join us next week and have questions ready for indie developers who really shoot their shot and look really cool doing it. It's going to be an excellent show. But
also, wait.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to go over to Septic Sauce's channel at 4 p.m. EST because I will be over there this week. And we're gonna get into. I'm sure we're gonna get
a full court press right now. There you go.
Yeah, we got to, man. This is the final stretch. Hardest working man in independent comics.
That's right.
I'm sure we're gonna get into all manner of trouble over there. So make sure you guys check out Gaz's.
Of course. Make sure you don't watch it with your kids. I made that mistake once. Now I gotta put headphones on. It is what it is. I watched it with the kiddos.
Watch your mouth, T Maverick.
But yes, let me double check here. I think that's it, man. I think we put on a good show. I appreciate all y'all for continuing to ride with us. Catch Mr. Everborn Saga on the Septic Sauce channel because, as Gaz said, prepare your backside.
I will also. I got to confirm this with Cog, but we talked about it earlier in the week. I should also be on Iron Lords
on
tomorrow.
ILP. Oh, fantastic! So you're gonna catch a whole bunch of the slanderous one. When you do, make sure you keep his foot to the fire. Keep keep him on task. Make sure he doesn't get away with capping for the CCP.
Wow. Show him that handheld again. What you got, sir?
The beautiful handheld that cannot be.
You see what we got here.
Yeah, you see what we're working with. Anyway, it's been a great show. Had a lot of fun. We'll see y'all next week. As we say, peace.
Thanks for being on it.